Greta Mania.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, August 29th, 2019. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination Episode 1168.
This is No Agenda.
Just another Microsoft morning and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're getting ready, but not for sealed indictments, Hurricane Dorian, or helicopters on Mars. We're getting ready for Greta Mania. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
So professional, man. That was so slick.
Greta Mania.
Microsoft morning. Screw Greta.
What happened?
Oh, man. There was a big Windows update, and I always get up at 5:30 on show days.
I did it last night.
Yeah, you were smarter than I. Usually, just like, if there's going to be an update, 5:30 a.m. is okay. If it takes 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and I have to reboot everything just to make sure it all works. And then it reset drivers. It turned my screen to dark mode. I have no idea why. Drivers were set to the wrong bit rate.
I don't know why I did that. I had the thing turn me into dark mode once out of the blue on an update. I can't figure out why.
Yeah.
But I never had a bunch of drivers reset. Maybe because you have all kinds of weird drivers that. Why would it reset any of them?
Yeah, it shouldn't. It should just leave it the way it is. Maybe they updated a driver. That's possible.
No, usually the Windows 10 update shouldn't be updating drivers randomly.
Well, who the hell knows? That's the one thing I did appreciate about the Macintosh. If it was broken, it was just broken for a long time. There was no quick little fix on Tuesday. It was just busted. These things. Anyway, we're on the air everywhere. Yes, Greta Mania. She made it, didn't she?
Oh man, I was stunned. And then she came out. I guess she came out the other end. Okay, now she's stuck over here, and it's going to be Greta Mania. You watch, it's going to be like the Beatles.
Is she going to do a ticker tape parade through New York?
She might. I do have an NBC Thunberg report if you want to play that.
A teenage climate activist whose passion for the planet has attracted global attention arrived in New York City today. The young environmentalist chose to travel on a zero-emissions yacht, and she invited fans to share the journey. Here's Kelly Kobiella.
Tonight, climate activist Greta Thunberg is back on dry land after 15 days at sea.
All of this is very overwhelming.
The 16-year-old Swedish student who started a global youth movement when she went on strike from school last year set sail from England August 14th for New York and the United Nations Climate Conference. Taking a boat, she said, because flying is terrible for the planet.
So I think this will be fun.
Sharing her maiden voyage with her 2 million social media followers. Tweeting, "It's like camping on a roller coaster. And on day 8, you really lose sense of time." But one day stood out.
So it's very rough, the very high waves.
That bad weather making them just one day late.
It is insane that a 16-year-old have to cross the Atlantic Ocean to make a stand.
After 2 weeks to stare at the ocean and think about the planet. Kelly Kobiella, NBC News.
Yeah. Well, I hand it to her. I'm impressed. That was no small feat for a child. I probably would have turned it down myself. That's okay, guys.
Unless you're a sailor and you want to give it a shot on something.
You're really into
a very high-end boat, but unless you're one of those guys.
Now, this is a whole United Nations deal, and of course, they're flying the crew back.
How's she getting back?
That's still unclear.
She going to single hand the boat back? It's going to do. I mean, they're flying the crew back. What's the boat going to do?
I don't know. Maybe we get to keep her. That would be nice. So, here on the No Agenda show, we're not big fans of abusing children for Green New Deal, climate change hysteria. But she seemed to be into it. So, okay, that's fine. Canada has a new campaign. Where they're really abusing kids. And this is the 18 to 8 campaign. Have you heard of this?
No.
Well, the 18 to 8
18 to 8?
Yeah, so they feel that...
Not 8 to 18?
No, the voting age in Scandinavia is 18. And
they want to change it to 8?
Yes, they do, and here's why.
Climate change, you're a threat. How many Do you guys have a moment to talk about climate change?
We polled kids across Canada and asked them to rank election issues in order of priority. 74% ranked climate change as the issue most important to them.
Climate scientists are now saying we only have 12 years left to act if we want to avoid catastrophic damage.
Down.
That's why we're lobbying the federal government to lower the voting age from 18 to 8.
Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote!
They are the future. They deserve a say. And if we work together, we can lower the voting age.
1, 2, 3, 4. Climate change is not a choice.
This guy can vote, and then I can't.
These kids are not here to kid around.
Let the kids vote. Let the kids vote.
Let the kids vote.
Let kids vote. Let kids vote. Let the kids vote.
That last voice at the end was Mr. Miyagi. They even got him in. He's 100 years old now. From Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. So the kids again terrorizing.
I like the song, Let the Kids Vote. There's also a jingle at the beginning the kids were singing I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, that is actually a good one. Hold on, let me see. It was, what did they say again?
Climate change, you're a threat. How many years do we have left?
That's your chance. 12 years left. We're all going to die. But it's okay because this will happen less frequently in our future. This is going to go away. It's going to become less of an issue. You know why? No,
we're all going to die. That's why.
Well, no. It's the children will no longer be making children. We have to reduce.
Yes,
AOC,
that's the real goal.
AOC said so herself on her live Instagram.
I think about the kind of family that I want to plan, and I've already known my entire life that one day I'd love to adopt children. But even now, when you put climate change on top of that, I know that I want to, perhaps have one less child than I thought I would maybe have if I can even have a child biologically. I don't know.
What?
Haven't tried.
She hasn't tried.
and I think having a mixed family is part of my personal planning. But it's really hard, and I don't think sometimes that older generations really understand how much we're taking this into account.
Taking what into account?
That they don't want to have less children's. And
she says, the way she says it, she says, I don't think the older generations know how much they're. What did she say?
Let's listen to the last bit again. Then
I think about the is part of my personal.
So she says she wants to have a mixed family with one less than she would have planning as part of her planning.
But it's really hard, and I don't think sometimes that older generations really understand how much we're taking this into account.
Oh, no, we do. You're terrorizing the younger generation. We're very cognizant of what's going on. Thank you very much, ageist. We know what's happening.
Ageist prick.
We know what's happening. What we don't talk about is that Michael Mann, the premier climate scientist who first handed the hockey stick graph to Al Gore,
lost. It was James Hansen who handed the hockey stick graph.
It was Michael Mann.
Okay.
And he just lost a court battle, has to pay court costs and lawyer costs because he refused to produce the underlying data in court of his assertions.
Oh, he's got nothing.
Well, he refused to show it.
Why, if it's so powerful?
Yeah.
So he just made it up.
Yeah, well, it was the actual...
this will be swept under the rug.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a bunch of reports about this. Now, this was the hockey stick trend that was featured in the third IPCC assessment report that came out in 2001. That is what Al Gore used. And what was the... So the court in British Columbia dismissed his lawsuit because he was suing, for slander or whatever, because this Dr. Ball, I think, said, this is bullshit. You don't have it. It's not true. And they dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice, which I think in this case means it was so stupid you brought this to the court. And it's the R2 regression analysis, which underlies his graph. He refused to produce the documents, was ordered to produce them by the court, given a deadline, refused to produce them. The court dismissed the case. Now, will you hear that anywhere on mainstream media? Probably not.
Not with Greta Mania.
Good old Greta. Luckily, though,
Greta Mania.
Luckily, though, you brought the analysis of this Amazon lungs of the world to the previous show, which now we're seeing new. I saw Newsweek, Time. Did New York Times? Did they do any kind of story on this hoax that
I didn't see it.
That the Amazon is the lungs of the world? No. Well,
lungs of the world.
Nat Geo had a nice little ditty on the Amazon, and
the funny thing is Pamela Anderson used to be the lungs of the world.
One single tree can produce enough oxygen to support 2 people, and the Amazon rainforest is 10 times the size of Texas, producing 20 times more oxygen than all the people on the surface of the earth could consume. But not one breath of it leaves the Amazon. There are so many animals living in the Amazon basin that the life there uses all that oxygen up.
For all these years, I've been thinking the rainforest is the lungs of the planet. Now, sure, it makes a lot of oxygen, but it uses it all.
No, that's another interesting little factoid. It never really leaves the Amazon. It's not added. It's not. I think I mentioned this after the show, and you said you didn't say it on the show. I thought I did, but I'll say it now. Which, when I was a kid, that's what we were taught. We were taught that the Amazon is it produces all this oxygen, and it's like very crucial that it remain intact. Yes, I think I learned similar.
Yeah. It just reminds me of the International Geophysical Year, which I believe was 1957,
and was recorded by Steely Dan.
Before the International Geophysics Year, everybody in the schools would teach that it's just a coincidence that if you look at a globe, that South America kind of fits into Africa like a couple of jigsaw puzzle keys.
Oh yeah, I always heard that. No. You think that fits? No. It's just
it's bullcrap. It's just bullcrap. It's a coincidence. Yeah. And then the International Geophysical Year appeared, and they determined that's when they discovered tectonic plates, and they realized that yes, it was once one giant landmass, and then it moved away very slowly, but it did fit, which was the first thing you'd see when you looked at a globe. Logically, it looked like it fits, and they're trying to deny the obviosity of it.
Why were they denying it, and when now it's generally accepted as true?
Baffling. It just became some sort of a standard. Somebody. I have no idea. They didn't want to believe it, I guess. It was like, no, that can't possibly be true because that means it would be one giant landmass. And we have no evidence of such a thing.
Well, this is such a convoluted topic that the Democratic National Committee voted against a presidential climate debate amongst the candidates. The delegates voted 222 to 137 against allowing candidates to participate in a debate dedicated to the topic after a heated floor fight interrupted by protesters chanting, "We can't wait," and "failure of leadership," which are not good chants, by the way, but okay. It's quite lame. So they decided, nope, we're not going to have a debate just about climate change. CNN immediately turns around.
Hold on a second. If you're going to address this, which we have addressed in the past, this has been going on for a while, but What would be the debate? They're all on the same side.
Well, I completely agree with the leadership, actually, that it would be suicide for them to have a debate because no one has answers. It's all conflicting. And you're right. They're all on the same side. It would just come down to how much money. I don't know. It would be hilarious to watch and great for our show. It would have been fabulous. So instead, someone co-opted CNN and they announced an unprecedented prime time event. They're going to do 7 hours of town halls back to back, live from New York on Wednesday, taking audience questions. Oh, yeah. So we start at 5 p.m. with Julian Castro, followed by Andrew Yang at 5:40. Oh, there's different interviewers, too. Hold on. This is great. So Wolf Blitzer.
Oh, hold on a sec. Oh.
What?
Wait, I should mention this because this is a little dimension to what you're doing here. When this first began, which was before the first debate, they said anybody who takes part in something like this will be kicked off the debate stage, period. I don't know if you remember that. I do. Well, these guys that you're starting to mention already, I don't know, maybe it's going to be a change if you keep reading names. They're already off because the Democratic Party decided, no, we're going to do one debate now. It's not going to be 20 people. And they're excising numerous people from the stage.
Well,
so it sounds like these guys are two of the guys.
We're only going to have 1, 2, 10. But this lineup is very interesting. Again, it starts at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and it ends at around midnight Eastern time. So if you were to take this rundown and you flipped it to the left, you would have the people on the left start and the people on the right end. And, of course, the important people in prime time will be right in the middle. So we start off with Castro interviewed by Blitzer at 5 p.m., then Andrew Yang at 5:40, then Kamala Harris at 6:20 p.m., interviewed by Aaron Burnett. Then we get Amy Klobuchar. I can't believe she's still around. She'll be at 7. Of course, former Vice President Joe Biden will be interviewed by Pooper at 8 p.m., followed by Bernie, also by Pooper at 8:40 p.m. Then Elizabeth Warren, interviewed by Chris Cuomo. What a bum rap that is, at 9:20, followed by Mayor Pete at 10 p.m., and Don Lemon will interview Beto O'Rourke at 10:40 p.m. Sayonara, Beto, and Cory Booker at 11:20 p.m. He's barely on the same day. So it looks like Joe and Bernie.
So this is going to be 5 hours, or how many hours it is? 6 hours.
7 hours, and
7 hours of 1 hour long interviews with the various candidates about climate change.
It looks like it's 40 minutes each time.
Well, there'll be ads in there. It's not going to be ad free, is it?
I think they'll break for ads after each block. I think. I don't know. They have not mentioned this. I'm not looking at the spot card, the rate card.
This is a disaster.
And notice Tulsi's not on the list, nor is
Marianne Williamson.
Marianne Williamson, yeah, both.
She'd probably be more interesting than all of them combined.
If you're making a show, it sure would be. And if you want some different noise, definitely.
Tulsi and Marianne Williamson would be two. They'd get ratings. These other people, nobody wants to listen to any of them.
No, you're right.
Go blather on. I mean, Bernie will probably get some numbers, but who else is going to get numbers? This is like a ratings nightmare. I can't believe we got to look at the overnights on when this happens, because it's going to be a joke.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to watch anything for 7 hours on a Wednesday? Isn't there NCIS or something on Wednesdays? There's got to be.
Typically on Tuesday.
There's got to be something.
There's a bunch of like FBI, and I think some of these other things might be on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. SEAL team, I know, is. But there's really actually not a lot of good programming on Wednesday. So, but still.
Well, last night I was surfing around, and it's like, boom, the new Beverly Hills 90210. They brought it back. So I'm like, clickety click. I'm like, yeah, let's watch this. Within 7 seconds, the keeper goes, I can't watch this.
It's bad.
So I'm like, okay, I'll just turn it off. Speaking of television, the Video Music Awards, I don't know if you had a chance to see them. Once again, MTV rolling out the Illuminati fest that it usually is. And
were you invited? You're an old MTV. I don't know if people realize this, but you're an old MTV alumnus. In fact, you're one of the first VJs and very popular in your era.
Yes, and no.
Yeah, so you were invited to do a retrospective or something?
No, there was this little thing where I quit and took MTV.com with me that they still kind of hate me.
Oh. Huh.
But they don't just hate me. In 1989... I was asked, it was demanded of me that I give Michael Jackson the Video Vanguard Music Award, which was an award, the Music Video Award, which had not existed prior to that. And it was a real hassle because it had to be done in L.A. and there was a whole bunch of, and I really didn't, I might wanted to go, but I had some personal stuff. And anyway, they worked it out. And so I go there, and it's a famous video of me with Tom Freston and Michael Jackson standing on an apple crate. So he's, the guy was 6 feet tall. He was, half a foot taller than me. But it very specifically, the award was from then on always to be named the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. And probably because of the movie, the documentary, they decided to just drop that. They would not say it. It was not in any announcement. It was not in any of the voiceovers. It was only the video. And it went to, what's her name? Missy Elliott. And who deserved it. But luckily, she was nice. She actually said, I want to thank Michael Jackson. But it was so lame of MTV. I mean, that was a deal. And it was part of an actual contract that it'd be named after him because they wanted him to perform on the awards that year. So they broke their contract. I don't know if anyone cares. So that was severely disappointing. But man, the stage was in triangles. There was it was everywhere. And then they brought out the high priests of the Illuminati, John Travolta and Queen Latifah, as far as I know, both at least kind of gay. And in the Hollywood weirdness, I just said, there they are. They're the high priests. Come on in. And then they showed a Doritos commercial where they didn't show the actual chip.
I saw that commercial, yeah. The commercial, it's all about the triangle.
Yeah, and they flashed the all-seeing eye. Yeah, I'm sure it's funny, but the thing that really got me is in one commercial block, I saw an ad for the Clear Blue pregnancy test, followed by Teen Moms 2. You can't make it any crazier. Have you ever seen Teen Moms?
No,
it's the saddest. It's the saddest show you've ever seen. And then and that comes right after a pregnancy test ad. I mean, they're going crazy over there.
They got some creative sales guys.
Well, everything,
John.
Yeah. No, everything was sponsored. Oh, here's the Jonas Brothers with their Toyota ad. And you could see the meeting. Hey, what can we do, man? We get Jonas Brothers. We can get them to do some for the brand. Let me think. I know. Ultimate road trip playlist from the Jonas Brothers. Great idea. I'll run it by management. It's infantile. All right. It's what it is sometimes. Why don't we Brexit? We had a little bit of action finally.
Well, I've got a bunch of clips.
Oh, good. Because it's been so quiet.
Let's catch people up. Yeah, well, actually, I think maybe this one clip will catch people up, which is that the Queen has agreed. What happened was Boris Johnson decided that he wanted to do this. It's called prorogue.
Yes.
To shut down.
What is the etymology of prorogue? Is the word rogue a part of that?
I don't know.
Prorogue?
You might want to look it up. If you can look up etymology of prorogue. I think it's just some old term that had referred to a shutdown. But the idea is that we're coming up on Brexit in October, end of October. So what we're going to do is around September 15th, shut down Parliament and leave it shut down until we just have a hard Brexit.
Well, 2 weeks before. 2 weeks before.
Well, yeah. Actually, the 2 weeks before should be time enough, but probably won't be. 2 weeks before would be just enough time to extend it. That's my betting on that.
Yeah, I have some thoughts, but let's do your stuff.
Okay, well, you have some thoughts. Well, let's see if I have a number of clips, mostly from people moaning, but let's listen to NBC and their Brexit report.
Tonight, the UK may be on the brink of a constitutional crisis. The Queen has approved Prime Minister Boris Johnson's plan to suspend Parliament from early September to mid-October. The surprise move blasted by opposition lawmakers, one calling it a coup. They now have less time to debate Johnson's plan for a Brexit divorce from the European Union by the October 31st deadline.
So there was some fake news that kind of went along with this. As people were immediately saying, "Oh, this is a hijack," and this is not uncommon. It's a coup. Hashtag coup. Boris Johnson's coup. But it's not uncommon for. In fact, it's quite normal for Parliament to shut down just before the Queen's speech, which is kind of the State of the Union. Only it was, and by the way, prorogue means basically prolong. I looked it up. That's the etymology of it. So it's longer than it typically is. And what you just heard at the beginning of that report, let me just play this beginning here.
Tonight, the UK may be on the brink of a constitutional crisis.
So about that constitutional crisis, here is Channel 4 UK. The reporter standing, of course, on the grassy knoll there in front of Parliament. Listen to what he says.
The Brexit crisis is now entering uncharted waters, even for our flexible, unwritten constitution. It just took the Queen to give her consent, and it was done. Parliament will be prorogued or suspended.
Flexible, unwritten constitution? This is not in their constitution. They don't have a constitution. We've got a Magna Carta. So
that goes way back.
So this constitutionality is bullcrap.
I think that was put in, that the phrase constitutional crisis, because it's something Americans can understand.
Okay.
And it's something the Brits can understand too, because they think that Trump is trying to take over the place.
Fair enough.
I think
Fair enough.
Bogus.
Fair enough.
Bogus blather.
Yes.
There you go.
Do you have analysis of this?
I have a couple of guys on the street moaning and groaning, somewhat semi-famous people. And this is off this little network, this little online network called Joe, which is in the UK. And it is seems to be a pro-EU mechanism of some sort. And they, every time they have anything, there's a bunch of people waving. Hell with the British flag, we're waving the EU flag. But let's listen to this one. This is a guy who's a baron, Baron Adonis, who used to be a member of Parliament.
Wait a minute, that sounds like a no agenda baron name.
Isn't that a great name? Yeah, Baron
Adonis.
Woo! He's there with his pal. He's no Adonis, I might add. But he's there with his pal, and they're bitching and moaning to the Man on the Street report on the network Joe.
And if Brexit means no deal, not enough medical supplies for the country, shortages of food, people not being able to get in and out of the country, then there definitely needs to be either an election or a referendum. It's a huge pity that this has happened, because nobody wants the Queen dragged into politics. She has to follow the advice of the government. But to be proroguing Parliament, which prevents Parliament from meeting at all for 5 weeks during a national crisis, is quite unacceptable. Hillary and I have been in Parliament a long time. We've been ministers. No way would the governments of which we were a party have thought of offering advice like this to the Queen. And it's creating a deep constitutional crisis, which I think is only going to be resolved by Boris Johnson backing down and allowing more time for Parliament to debate these crucial matters.
The referendum campaign, much was made of taking back control. Do you think many people realise that meant taking back control for the executive?
Well, no one thought that, because remember, all the people who are in favour of Brexit now told us there'll be a deal. Indeed, remember Farage said that Norway was a great place to be. Well, Norway is a much more elaborate deal than even the one that Theresa May negotiated.
What is this Norway nonsense?
I know, they drew that in. They're throwing this stuff in. They're very desperate.
Yeah.
Everyone's scared to death, and that's why they're promoting the second referendum, of course. I mean, they're going to keep doing that. Now, this other guy is actually more interesting, and this is the clip, Paul Mason. This guy was a BBC economics correspondent, and this shows you the kind of nature of the BBC being a stooge for the EU. And the guy heads up something called Europe Now or something like this, some organization which is promoting, Europe taking over the world, aka Germany. And he comes on, and he's worse than this other guy. He's an ex-BBC correspondent. He was an economics, the economics guy, and he just goes off.
I think his lack of a popular mandate makes the decision to prorogue even more suspect.
It's not even suspect. It's so clearly programmed. As soon as the MPs said we're going to unite to stop you, he's pulling the plug on Parliament. It's a plan. Whose plan is it? It's the plan of the elite. It's the plan of the billionaires behind Trump, the dark money behind Nigel Farage. It's a plan. It's being executed. And I know people just would rather be doing something else. So would I. Yeah, it's still summer in my head. But it's at times like this that your democracy can be stolen from under your nose.
Trump waded in today. What's your response to him saying that Jeremy...
Trump is my response. Fuck Trump. Yeah? Fuck Trump, full stop, exclamation mark, underline. I mean, the guy doesn't understand democracy. What right has he to dictate the outcome of a British political crisis? But of course, that's what it is. The whole design. For me, by the way, this is no longer about Brexit. With or without Brexit, leave or remain. The issue is, are we going to become a colony of Trump's America and lose our democracy or not?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Since he was mentioned in the clip, I have Nigel Farage, who, of course, is part of these billionaires and the billionaires behind him. Black money. Well, he says something very different.
Well, here's the big dilemma. How do we leave the European Union on the 31st of October? Do we leave with a clean break Brexit, or do we leave with the withdrawal agreement that Mrs. May put to Parliament 3 times and was 3 times rejected? And here's my concern. Much as I think Boris has brought great optimism and energy to the job, things that President Trump has identified, it looks like he wants to go for an amended form of that withdrawal agreement, and that would still leave us very tied to EU rules and would mean we could not do a trade deal with the USA for several years to come. So what I'm doing as leader of the Brexit Party is putting as much pressure as I can on Boris to say, come on, we've spent over 3 years waiting to do this. Let's just get out with a clean break Brexit and get on with our lives.
I actually had 2 clips. If you don't mind, I'll just play this. It's about the same length where he actually talks about the billionaires.
I spent 20 years.
Sorry.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Before you play it, the term clean break Brexit is really a good term instead of hard Brexit.
Clean break. It's much friendlier.
They should change their nomenclature. I think clean break is very positive. It sounds very positive. It sounds good.
Well, that's what you want in a relationship. We had a clean break.
Yeah.
What was the...
Had a hard break. Hard sounds difficult. Hard means difficult.
It's meant to sound difficult. I'm sure someone labored over that term.
Yes, and they should change it to clean break if they're Brexiteers.
Well, let's talk about what will happen after the break.
I spent 20 years working in financial markets before getting involved in politics, and very often you get short-term hysteria in markets, and it's always the old thing, isn't it? Sell the rumour, buy the fact. And I think, frankly, once the UK has left the European Union, if we do it in a clean way, I think foreign and direct investment will flood into the United Kingdom because we'll be free of Greece and Italy and all these economies that are doing so badly. And the arguments against leaving are those from the status quo, those from the big firms who are doing very well, thank you. And life's always like that. You always get the big and the rich want no change. Actually, the time has come, not just economically to change, but democratically. Why should my country be run by unelected bureaucrats in Brussels? I want to be free.
Okay. He wants to be free.
I want to be free.
I want to break free. Yeah. Well, I still don't think it's going to happen by October 31st.
Well, what do you...
It's not going to happen.
Think I'm sliced tomatoes?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I don't think so either, because it hasn't happened yet. And they've put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. I mean, I'd like to see it happen. It's about time we got this off the table, but they just don't want to do it. They're afraid.
Well, they're using the wrong messaging, and I think that if you really don't want this to happen, or let's just say you don't want a clean break or a no-deal Brexit, it was on PBS. Well, it was written on PBS. I wish I had a clip. It would have been funnier. All across Europe, families and couples on vacation are seamlessly crossing borders with their beloved dog, thanks to the European Union Pet Passport Scheme. Now, as a no-deal Brexit looms as a possibility for Britain, free pet travel is under threat.
Dogs are people, too.
That's right. Yeah, your pooch, if you want to travel with your pooch, when you come back, it'll have to go into 6-month quarantine. I mean, it's not really what'll happen in reality, but man, what a scary thing to use. They should be hyping that. It's great.
Well, didn't the British always have the restrictions on bringing dogs into the country?
Well, if you recall, when we moved from New Jersey back to Europe, we wanted to move to the UK directly, but we couldn't because we had 6 pets, 3 dogs, 3 cats. Thank you very much. And so we had to stay in.
No wonder you hate dogs.
We had to stay in an EU country for at least 6 months. Which was great because in the Netherlands, it was no problem. And we flew him over. We actually flew him over on a small plane. My buddies flew us over. And the next day, DEFRA, I think they're called, were there with 6 cages. Yeah, we're here to take your animals away because you didn't declare them. I said, well, they've been in a European country for, no, they have to be chipped. I said, but they are chipped. Well, you have to have the paperwork. And they came back and they were ready to put these animals in the cages. And I had called actually it was a doctor in Belgium, and I told him, falsify that shit and send it over by fax right away. And he did, thank goodness. And so they were able to stay because they all had the chip. But the passport scheme will fall apart just like the regular passport scheme, I guess. I don't know. We'll never see it because it's not going to happen. I don't see this happening. For some reason, it just doesn't feel like it will ever take place.
Well, if it does, the market's going to collapse.
All market, like the financial markets?
Well, I think it's going to be temporary, but I think it's going to be like one of those flash crashes. Yeah, because people will go nuts. Oh, my God. Did it actually happen? What are we going to do? I don't know. I can't take a chance. Get out of my stocks.
Well,
I'm going to cash.
I'm sure that all the scenarios have been baked in and they're ready to pull triggers at any
Yeah, no, they're not. I don't think they are baked in because I think everybody's got your attitude.
It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
This ain't happening. So, or they're going to have a redo, which is I'm still sticking with the redo. You do another election. I mean, that's what the original thesis is.
Yes. Yep. Do-over. Well, that's not the thesis. That's the European way. There's a difference.
The EU way just beat you down.
So there's a controversy amongst Americans, and this will then, to some degree, I think anyone in another country can follow along with the controversy. And this is the Dave Chappelle special on Netflix, which has just been a phenomenal spectacle to view the feedback on. I mean, I know you saw it because you posted about it on the tweeters.
Yeah.
And now Scott Adams, I think in relation to that, or maybe you tagged him or something. This was not. I disagree that Scott Adams says 1 out of 3 people have no sense of humor. While that might be true,
I think the number is 1 out of 4.
Well, while that might be true, this was a dimensional problem and a big one. In fact, I viewed it in Mixed Dimension Company, and it was very.
That's great. You had that opportunity.
It was very uncomfortable.
I did too, because I watched it with Jay's fiance Nick, and he's a younger millennial.
Did he like it?
He loved it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you didn't have a good mix then. He's clearly not Dimension B. I didn't say age differences. I said mixed dimensions. And I think that's where the difference is. And I thought it was fantastic. I laughed quite a lot watching it. And I'm not going to deconstruct Dave Chappelle, but I do think there was a moment that was just so beautiful in its simplicity. It was a great joke, and he set it up really well by completely preparing you to such a degree that the audience actually just shouted out their bias. Well, here, I'll play this for you. This is the impressions that I feel kind of, well, it kind of got the whole ball rolling where people got mad.
Tonight I'm going to do something that I'm not particularly good at, but that I like to do. Tonight I'm going to try some impressions out. I only got 2. All right, the first impression's kind of dumb, but I like it. This is my impression. You ready? This is my impression of the founding fathers of America when the Constitution was being written. You ready? Here it goes. Hurry up and finish that Constitution, nigger. I'm trying to get some sleep.
Now that's brilliant to set people up into a racist mindset. You know, I found it to be extremely smart what he did, followed by this.
It's not bad, right? All right, the next one. The next one's a little harder. I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of. All right, let me get into character. You got to guess who it is, though. Okay, here it goes. Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm going to try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all niggas is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life.
So it was so beautiful and I isolated that one little bit in the middle where he says, "Who do I sound like?" And you can hear multiple people in the audience.
Who's that?
Trump! It's Trump! It's Trump! It's right, Trump! No, it's you.
Yeah, there was a number of people in the audience that said Trump.
But I think that trick, by setting you into a complete racial mindset, just thinking about, oh my God, those guys were so racist. And of course, you're thinking about Constitution, you're thinking about presidents. So he put that into your mind, and I think he made people think that, and it worked. And then he said, no, but that's you. And I think that really was a blow. I think that really hurt some people's feelings.
It's possible.
And
it was definitely the reason one of the things about that particular, but I've watched a lot of Chappelle, and his comedy's always been unstructured. This was an extremely structured act. It had a beginning, a middle, and end. It had callbacks right where they belonged.
Multiple
and
callbacks.
Finished with a callback.
Yeah.
And it was structured way more than anything I've ever seen him do before, which is one of the reasons I kind of liked it. And more than usual. I mean, other people say, I've seen they're grouse. I mean, a lot of people grousing about it, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny.
There were two things.
That got me off guard.
There were two things that I think really. Here's what I heard from the mixed dimension. He's transphobic. Everyone, he's transphobic. And he did. And I'm so proud of this show. How many years have we been talking about what he calls the alphabet people, what we call LGBTQIA, and that they don't get along, that it's not a community. And so he took that basic premise and he turned it into, I thought, a very funny joke about driving and everybody in the alphabet car. But the only thing I have heard and read consistently is he's transphobic. He's a transphobe. He's a transphobic. And because he messed with everybody, including his own wife, but also his own celebrity and fame and his kids. I think that, and you posted a link to a review where the reviewer seemed somewhat and the reviews are just, crazy social justice warrior stuff. This particular reviewer was rather obsessed with how much money he has or how much money he made. And I figured it out. It's because of his privilege. But it doesn't compute to say, well, the black man has white privilege, because that's basically what he has. And so that came out in the wash as he's rich. It was unbelievable. And did you see the bonus footage? Did you know there was 20 minutes of bonus footage?
We killed it after that, so I have to go watch the bonus footage like in the next day or two.
So there was 20 minutes of bonus footage, which was an Easter egg. You had to let it play all the way out, and then it looked like it was ending. If you looked on the timeline, but then it flipped to another playlist item, and that was this 20 minutes right after the same performance, I think, on Broadway. And he sat down, he talked to people, and he had one story of how he was prepping for the comedy for this particular show, and he was doing some smaller gigs, and in one like 200 seat, I think in San Francisco, he says one woman got really angry and one of his jokes, and then as she's leaving, she says, "Well, I'm sorry, I got raped." She was really, really upset and crying, and it kind of, it really put the whole place in a downer.
I guess.
But at the same show, he said it was interesting that there was a trans woman there, and she was laughing and laughing, and he thought, I have the clip of him saying it if you want to hear. Maybe he'll explain it better, because there was something really beautiful that came out of that, which I think he would have been better to put it in this full special.
Same show, there's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This was like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go with something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad, because I knew I had some trans jokes on load. And I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't say these jokes because I don't want to fuck her evening up. She was having so much fun. But then I thought to myself, well, if I can't say it in front of her, should I say this shit at all? So I let her rip. And to my surprise, Daphne laughed harder at the trans jokes than anybody in the room. In fact, everybody in the room would look at her to make sure it was okay. So now I go out of the dressing room and you can see all the staff is there cleaning the club up. The audience had gone. And sitting at the bar by herself was Daphne. And she's like, "Hey, Dave, come join me for a drink." And I don't want her to think that I'm transphobic or nothing. So I'm like, fuck, I guess I could have at least a drink. And we get some tequila and we're sitting there. And she was fucking cool. Turns out that Daphne, she wants to be a comedian. She was asking me for advice, and I told her advice and all that shit. And then she says to me, "Boy, you sure do get a bad rap for your trans jokes." I said, "Daphne, thank you, but you don't have to say that. I hope I didn't offend you." And she goes, No. She said, "In fact, I read about you in the New York Times." I said, "You did?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "I thought it was interesting that they blamed you for R. Kelly. They said you normalized him for telling jokes about him." I go, yeah, they said that. She goes, "I wonder why they never said that you normalized transgenders by telling jokes about us."
Tepid applause.
And I'd never thought about that. It never occurred to me. And we started making out. And then
and that was, I thought that was really a beautiful thing. And I bet it happened just like that. But it's not, I don't see trans people up in arms yelling. I see people who just can't find any other group that they can call victims than trans.
This is the classic identity politics, which I explained in an essay that was sent around.
A lot of people like that. That was good.
Yeah,
it was a very good essay. It was a very good essay. You want to summarize or just say, hey, people, go read it?
Well, it's actually really something you need to read because it stems from the thought that you've changed the kind of a Marxist concept of oppressed and oppressor into various little groups where you always have someone's being oppressed and someone's the oppressor, where it boils down to the white male, the cisgendered white male is the maximum oppressor. He's oppressing everybody, and he must be, dealt with somehow by, I don't know how you do anything about it, but it's just a very interesting
castration.
thing to read. Yeah, well,
start there. These horrible white males.
So yeah, I have to go watch that end.
The bonus was some good stuff in there. Some good stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
now, so let's get back to this thing that you were talking about, which is that you had a dual audience. Who was in the audience that you were watching it with? You watched it with
one of the kids,
daughter-in-law.
Yeah, it's called the stepdaughter.
Oh, that's right, stepdaughter.
Yeah. She didn't find it funny.
How old is she?
22.
So she's she's kind of in between, or she's a younger millennial.
Younger millennial, yeah. And
she's 22. Find any humor in it?
No, I don't think she thought it was very funny, and she said, he comes across as very transphobic, and we didn't really have any conversation about it, but I was laughing, and I didn't see any laughter, and I felt bad. It's like, wow. What is that? And she has humor. She's not a humorless person. What has happened?
Maybe she hates black men.
No, I think also the no exposure to.
By the way, that joke which I just said takes the transgender complaining to another level.
Yeah, I'm just trying to let that one go.
I'm sorry, you weren't going to get away with it.
Well, but I think that she may not have had any exposure to this type of
urban-ish humor.
Not even urban, just blatant, in-your-face comedy, which, let's be honest, has kind of been impossible for comics to do for the past, 5 years at least?
No, 10.
Well, there you go. So it's a complete differently formed funny bone.
And if you go and look into that guy who wrote that article in Patch, who hated the act,
yeah,
he does describe his favorite comic, which is a guy from Saturday Night Live who does extremely weird, dry comedy.
Did you see that? It's Shapes comedy. Interestingly, I watched a little bit of that, and I didn't find it that funny.
I didn't find it funny at all. There was nothing.
So that's dimensionality. Why did he find that super funny? And why did we not?
It's non-threatening humor for starters. So that may have something to do with it. It's very strange. That dimensionally, you should find out whether your stepdaughter likes that guy.
Oh, good idea. That's a good idea. Because it's interesting to understand, or at least deconstruct and try and see what the things are. It's but I guess if it boils right down to it, if Dave Chappelle were white, this show would not be on Netflix ever in a million years. I think that's the bottom line. So it comes down to
I'm not convinced of that.
Ooh, I am. That's why he gets on the stage, is because he's member of an oppressed group, you see.
Yeah, you said you see.
I know. I was using that on purpose.
I would think I've seen other acts that are pretty out there on Netflix.
Okay. Well, anyway, I find it interesting.
That's a new segment of the show, entertainment reviewing.
Yes, interdimensional. So instead of intersectionality, we need interdimensionality. We demand more interdimensionality in our country.
Well, it's definitely educational.
What, the Dave Chappelle special was educational? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't clip it, but I was watching Succession on HBO. Is that HBO? Yeah. You know the show Succession?
Is that the one with what's his name?
It's kind of like a Murdoch family and the two sons.
I was thinking of the one where the president got killed.
No. This is a very, very good series. I like it a lot. This is the second season, and it's a family. It's modeled after the Murdochs and what was the family that used to own the New York Times?
Sulzbergers?
Yes. And it's really deep. But anyway, in that show, I heard the phrase "pump the brakes," and I was, and that was Sunday, right after you said it on the show. I'm like, holy crap! Pump the brakes. There it is. First sighting in the wild.
Well, you may have just missed it before.
Well, that's
a lot of these things. It happened to me, and maybe it happens to everybody. But we bring out a phrase that we find offensive, and then you say, "Well, I've never heard that before." When in fact, you've heard it over and over again. You just haven't noticed it.
Well, that's possible, and this, of course, is what the No Agenda Show does to a lot of people. It's like all of a sudden, it's like having a 10-speed bike. You see all those bikes driving around. Oh yeah. I've never noticed that before.
It's true.
True. Never noticed that before.
You don't. Or you start looking for Priuses. The first time I used to have a game I used to play with my daughter and say I would make a guess on how many Priuses from going from the house to a store, which is about a mile maybe. How many Priuses we'd see on the way. I
think I remember you talking about this on the show years
ago.
ago.
Hundreds of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of things you notice when you're looking for them, the unhoused in Austin, Texas have increased their visibility dramatically since the city ordinance changed. It has been about 6 weeks, and of course we remember our Mayor Adler, who said that, what are you worried about? We'll take a look in 6 weeks. And before the 6 weeks were up, they were already talking about maybe changing something today. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at LBJ Auditorium, I think. There's a huge town hall. The university is very pissed off because they do not want camping on the perimeter of the campus, which is now allowed, and students are being harassed who are coming on campus. But we have a lot of reports from Austin. I only want to share two. Our main drag in Austin is Congress Avenue. It goes straight up to the Capitol. You see the Capitol right there in front of you. Beautiful building, extra large sidewalks, and as we've discussed previously, you're now allowed to camp on the sidewalk. One of my favorite shops, which we talked about on the show before, is Royal Blue Grocer. It's the downtown grocery store. They overcharge on a lot of stuff because, of course, you can just walk to it. Particularly alcoholic beverages, so they're pure ripoff. But it's a high-end grocery store where you can get prepackaged stuff and not really anything to cook, but some produce and just it's for rich people. So they are typically open until midnight. And they are now thinking of closing down at 6 p.m.
With change comes issues.
We consider ourselves a compact urban market. We're a little different than a convenience store. We're also not a full-size grocery store. We kind of fit in the middle.
Craig Staley is all too familiar with the issues of the change in homelessness ordinances.
Hello.
Inside his store,
thanks.
Royal Blue Grocery.
We're talking about the challenges of operating a business on Congress Avenue. With the changes to the ordinances, we're really feeling a big difference down here. We have a lot of sympathy for the people that live out here, and we take care of a lot of them. We feed them in our stores. They come in with money and buy things from us.
$11.78 is your total. Thank you.
The changes and the things that are happening down here are having us consider closing at 6 p.m. every night so we don't have to deal with what's going on in the evenings because it gets pretty rough down here. We'll have folks take something from our store and argue with us on the way out the door.
I can help you right here if you're ready.
And that's a big change. It wasn't always like that. And we have a pretty seasoned staff that works the night shifts here.
Yeah, there's a specific crew that works here at night.
But when they're coming to us, telling us, I no longer feel safe.
Oh, yeah. definitely.
That's a big cause of concern for us.
So while they're staying open right now till midnight,
here you go.
Unless something changes outside the store, he'll solve the issue himself.
And we've got to address that sooner than later because it's affecting our business.
So there's crime, there's fighting, there's stabbings amongst the homeless themselves. And I know that you saw the tweet from Austin Skid Row, at Austin Skid Row, and they showed this whole perimeter of tents in downtown Austin. I just wanted to explain what's going on there because it's very interesting. This is right by the Arch. That is the Austin Resource Center for the Homeless. It is the only shelter that we have at the moment in Austin, downtown Austin. And they have, your typical shelter facilities inside, and this is run by a nonprofit, and they get lots of money, and they have lots of people who serve their clients. But the people on the outside are there for a reason.
It's a small gesture to begin to break down the walls, keeping dozens of homeless people from seeking services at the Austin Resource Center for the Homeless.
With just the number of individuals that we're seeing on the outside and the folks who have been here for long periods of time, that we've got a situation that soon could get a lot bigger.
Inside, beds, food, laundry, showers, case management, and a cold place to relax. Outside, ever-growing chaos.
No, they never safe. When you go to sleep at night, you're never going to have it. Never.
Even with mounting safety concerns, about 80% of people living on the outside of the building never go in.
And that's not because we're at capacity or turning anybody away. It's just a choice to not come in.
Because there's too many mans in there, too many headaches up in there, and I can't sleep around with a lot of mans.
Greg McCormick, executive director of Front Steps, the nonprofit that runs the Arch, says building a new shelter in South Austin likely won't make a dent here.
I think it's great. Another 100 beds will really help. I don't think from my engagement of the individuals outside the Arch that many of those individuals outside will go to that shelter.
McCormick says he finds many people living outside the Arch have developed their own community there. And after years in the elements, they're more comfortable here.
If they're going to go inside somewhere, then we need more shelter space. If they are not going to go inside somewhere, then we have to look at other solutions. And I think that some of those solutions are going to have to be outside.
Tuesday, Austin Mayor Steve Adler proposed placing camping restrictions on certain busy streets and at specific locations. The Arch was one of them.
That's an unsafe place. So it is something that I think needs to be a relatively high priority. To the degree that we don't let people sit and lie near the Arch, but we haven't provided homes or places for them to go, then all we're doing is moving people from one place to another place.
In June, City Council asked the city manager to consider at least 10 locations, one in each council district, that would allow camping.
What the manager came back and said is let's focus on getting housing all over the city rather than focusing on an open camping area.
So this is a disaster. People don't now. They showed the inside of the shelter, and it looks kind of like
cruel.
Yes, it looks like submarine berths. I wouldn't want to be in there either. It's dangerous. We all know that housing shelters can be very dangerous, particularly for women. But these people really want to be on the street for a number of reasons. One is that's where the drugs are. And so they want to camp around where the drugs are and where they're allowed to. And I don't know what's going to happen today, but it would be quite sad if they just continue to roll on this. Well, we have to make affordable housing. It'll take years, but they haven't built anything. It'll take years before they build something after they've appropriated land, etc. And then what?
About a big football field where everyone's allowed to go.
You can only imagine the chaos that will create.
Shantytown.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could say the same for San Francisco. I mean, or Los Angeles.
That's what I've been saying. And the worst, I guess, is getting even worse in Los Angeles, where the population of the homeless has increased to such an extreme ever since it became, it was noted as a problem. I think it's up to almost 60,000 people. I have a clip. I might as well play it. Yeah. There's a woman bitching about the homeless living right across the street from her in a pretty good neighborhood.
What am I looking for here?
Woman.
Oh, woman.
I have a huge rat's nest right across the street from where I live, where there's a homeless encampment. I can't shop downtown. I literally get sick. I actually have a cold right now because I was across the street talking to a homeless woman for about a half an hour, and I'm literally like, I feel ill after just talking to her because I was surrounded by trash and rats and fecal matter and urine.
Wait a minute, this is disgusting. Right across the street from where you live?
I think that this misplaced compassion is the problem. I hate to say it, but you need to stigmatize homelessness. People need to feel like they have to pull themselves up out of something. And if they have substance abuse issues, which I think is a massive factor, the doctor I talked to, Dr. Drew, says so why not? And he does have experience with substance abuse. We've got to do something other than, well, they're homeless. Because now people who are housed are running into trouble. You want to change something with your shed? You can go get 14 permits. Maybe. You want to camp right on Congress? Go ahead. Do whatever you want.
And poop on the streets while you're at it.
We had our first pooping video go viral from Austin on the corner. In fact, I got a note from Sir Mark Hall. He's thinking about...
I'm telling you, San Francisco leads the way.
It's true. You guys are always on the leading tip of popular culture.
Yep.
Sir Mark Hall said that he's thinking of starting a nonprofit. He wants to call it Austin Poop Action. And the first thing the nonprofit will do is hold a public poop-in at City Hall. And I am in.
You gonna poop?
No, we're gonna get the guy from Build the Dome to lead the movement. Of course, we'll have him poop. I'm not gonna poop at City Hall, but I think it's really, really, really sad. But I have hope for Austin because people are really pushing back. Particularly downtown, but it's everywhere, John. It is. It's everywhere.
They're not pushing back so much on the West Coast. I mean, of course, Austin did welcome the homeless with open arms.
Of course, like idiots. Of course we did.
Like idiots, and so the homeless deserve to go there because they're going to be welcomed with open arms, and that's not happening here. But at the same time, they're not doing anything about it besides, let's say, hiring more people to clean up human poop on the streets.
They got a team of what, like 7? It's almost.
They got more than that now.
Okay.
And Los Angeles, apparently, it's worse because in that report about the woman's bitching and moaning, it turns out that this part of a bigger report, because LA's got a different climate than up here, where it's pretty moist, so the poop stays in a non-friable situation for a long time.
It's moldable, but not friable.
But the poop in the LA basin, it's hotter down there, and the poop will dry out and then powder and turn into dust, and then all the pathogens and everything in the poop get pushed into the air, and you breathe it, and that's what this woman is sick, she says, just from being around it, because there's poop everywhere, and rats is the other thing that's a problem, which is the rodent infestation, which is taking place in Los Angeles, and I'm sure it'll be a problem because rodents, as far as they're concerned, this is great.
This is NPR with Poop Talk. John C. Dvorak and Adam Curry discuss feces. Yeah.
So there you have it.
Yeah. Well, everyone's got problems. Amsterdam is out of control. They used to have not with homelessness, but with tourists. They used to have a Bureau of Tourism.
Sure.
All
major tourist attractions do.
Oh, it has been renamed Bureau of Tourism Management. They are turning people away. They're trying to, because it is overfull. It's become some kind of playground. Everything is shut down throughout all of Europe, really. All the fun is gone. And Amsterdam, which never legalized marijuana, it's harder and harder to buy it in the coffee shops because once you die or you sell the coffee shop, it can never be a coffee shop again. So that's diminished. The red light district
shop is the moniker for a pot shop.
Yes, I'm sorry. The red light district has been almost shuttered. They have one street left, and now they want to even close the curtains. It was a fun tourist attraction, but it was. What you get is tourists coming in, drinking too much, eating the brownies, smoking the weed, puking in everyone's plant holders, peeing in mailboxes, making a general nuisance. We lived there in 2000, and it was already a problem. It is just out of control. So there's stuff going on. Maybe we just have too many people. Maybe AOC's onto something. Less people, maybe. Tourism's out. Mass immigration is in. It's the way of the world, everybody. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, the man who put the C in unwritten constitution, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning, you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning, all the boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Hey, trolls, in the morning to y'all. Good to see you all there in the troll room. NoAgendaStream.com. Incredibly important element of our show, I would say. It feels so good to be live and have live feedback, something that even you could barely even get back in the radio days unless you had someone call in as Caller 100. Here you just have a continuous roll of people calling us names and saying, are you happy now with Austin? Huh? What do you think of Austin? Huh? It's in New San Francisco. Thank you. That's what we're talking about. So they're trolling, and it's good because it keeps me on my toes. And it gives me a little aggravation from time to time, which is it is appreciated, especially during the Dave Chappelle segment. Quite embarrassing. I hope there's no log. NoAgendaStream.com. You can not only listen to our show, but 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's something going on. You can join fellow trolls and have a troll fest. Also, I'd like to say in the morning to the artist for episode 1167. This is Darren O'Neill. And let me see. We had a hard time, I recall, and go back to the art generator, NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. There was a lot of, what did we have? No, we actually had almost nothing.
There were a couple pieces I liked.
Yeah, but not really.
I liked the Darren O'Neill piece, and I liked one other piece on there. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, it was unusable. It was the Get slogan here, was the bumper stickers, the Chinese bumper stickers.
No, that wasn't it. Now you're going to have to make me do work.
Yeah, sorry. Let me see what you would have. I think that
was the one there now.
That was the one. There was very little there. And I remember...
I liked the taco truck.
Yeah. Okay.
And I liked the taco truck, and I liked the No Agenda University. Those are the two I liked. And you said the taco truck was no good, and it was bleh. And then you said you didn't like the other one either. And then it turned out we couldn't find anything else. And so you did a fallback on the No Agenda University sweatshirt, which, by the way, just out of... Darren O'Neill is selling that sweatshirt.
Yes, I was going to mention that. Where is he selling that? On Teespring, I think. Let me just double check. Wow, I got a whole page. I'll put the link in the show notes.
The reason I like the art because it did refer to the Adrian Peterson. I said that. I knew that this has happened before. Yeah. Jordan Peterson's apparent starting of a university is some sort of a gimmick. I don't know what he's up to.
Well, it's teespring.com/NoAgendaUniversity. And I see here Rush shipping available. Thank you very much, Darren.
I don't know that he sold any to Rush Limbaugh, has he?
Thank you very much, Darren O, for your support of the show. This is always appreciated because we know that people are doing this during the show and have only a chance of getting chosen. So anyone doing that is a hero in my book. And it's part of our Value for Value network where you provide value for the value you've received. It's up to you how much it is, what it is, how you deliver it. We certainly appreciate this kind of work and also our executive producers and associate executive producers who we shall thank right now.
Yes. I'm going through the art generator. I should get back to the spreadsheet. We're going to start with, now, this is a name I can't pronounce, but I'm going to say it's Jerd Brasser.
Short Brasser.
Short Brasser.
Yes, and where does he live? Where does Short?
He's in Middelburg, Holland.
Yes, very good.
33333, which is a good number. Hello. This is my first long overdue donation, as I've already been listening when 69 streak was hit. was okay, the 6969 streak. I would like to hear that jingle, 6969 dudes. Please add a jobs karma as I need some luck in this area. Thank you for the many hours of entertainment and keep up the good work.
Since it's first time, shouldn't we give him a de-douching as well?
You didn't ask for it, but yeah, I think so.
I think it's applicable in this case.
You've been de-douched.
69 dudes.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
And thank you very much, Stuart.
Tim Dale came in from Houston, Texas with the same amount, $333.33. This $333.33. This is my first donation, he writes, after 2 years. This came in as a check. After 2 years or so listening, I can't tell you how much your show means to me, so I won't. I can't even shame others into listening, but I'll never I will keep trying. Thank you both, Tim Dale. So why don't we just give him some gratuitous karma?
Happy to do that. I'll add a goat spin.
You've got karma.
Clay Alchemist comes in with $333 flat from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've had bad luck in the past month between my hand tremors due to a new migraine medication and then keep injuring my hand the first day back after a lovely 2-week vacation. Thankfully, both the migraines and the hand issues are resolved. I could use some goat karma as insurance for my hands as I'm ready for my first solo exhibition. What does he do? Is he an artist?
I'm not sure.
Also, can you shoot me an invite to No Agenda Social? I shot Adam an email yesterday after being suspended from Twitter when I tried to send him a link to an interesting article about the censorship of the Tiananmen Square photograph on Reddit.
Yeah, that was a banned photo for a little bit there, and Reddit reinstated it because it's dangerous for your health. Now,
you're talking about the photo of the kid standing in front of the tank?
No, the photo after the tank rolled over the kids. You ever seen that one? There's probably about 18, 19 people, some of them chopped in half by the tank laying there. It's not it's not very detailed, or you can zoom in. It's
gruesome. Okay.
It's gruesome, yeah. So that would be against Twitter's health and safety team's terms of service.
I reported somebody finally, and I sent a tweet out. I reported somebody. I keep reporting people. I report Rob Reiner all the time for hate speech. And so he's immune. Apparently, there's a number of people they whitelist him, and you can't get rid of him. But I did get somebody kicked off, account suspended.
Oh, really?
I'm very proud of myself being a censor.
You're part of cancel culture. Very good, JCD. Very good. What did this entity do?
It was so long ago. It takes them forever to do this that I can't remember.
That's lame. Anyway,
onward.
Wait. I just wanted to finish about the invite. I'll get you an invite. You can also go to the chat room, the troll room, that is. And I think you do !NA social, I think. Let me see if it works. Yes. If you go into the chat room, the troll room, and you do !NA social, it'll give you an invite link right there.
Yeah. Okay.
How cool is that?
It's very cool. Hopefully he writes, I'll meet some people on NA Social from the Grand Rapids area or Local 1. I have yet to make it to a meetup. Well, make sure you get on the mailing list.
Yeah. And check out noagendameetups.com.
Yeah, noagendameetups.com is a good way to go. John Fiddler comes in next from Lake Park, Washington, $333. JCD has note. Let's see here. Fiddler, here it is. Now, this is a handwritten note, and it's quite long, and it's written in a handwriting that looks a lot like Matt Groening. He does put the jingle request at the beginning: Obama, A-Team, Space Force, and Pew Pew. So there you have it.
Okay.
I am happy to announce that this donation will allow me to finally join the illustrious roundtable of knights and dames. You might as well see if he's on the list. I don't know. I was first hit in the mouth on show 666 while spending 2 months in Turkey. Aha. you had been discussing Gulen, and my friend wanted to bring more information to light. I started asking questions and was reportedly asked if I was CIA. I knew right away I had found the podcast for me.
Hey, wait, what was the third jingle he had? Team America, Pew Pew, and what was the third one?
Space Force.
Oh, Space Force. Got it. Okay.
Which was the second one in the list.
Okay.
This was a couple of years before the coup and the rest of the world started hearing his name. That's when I realized that Adam was from the future. In 2015, when the migrant caravan started marching across Europe, I remember Adam stating that this would be the end of the EU. Once again, future Adam was correct as we continue to watch the EU slowly implode. While I often don't agree with many of your positions, I don't think people need to say that because who would?
You know what? It's kind of...
I don't even agree with Adam.
I mean, I don't agree with my wife sometimes. I mean, why do people... It's a kind of... You know what it is? It's a kind of hedge virtue signal, I'm convinced. It's to say, I listen to those guys. Of course, I don't agree with everything they say.
Yeah, you're right. That's that. You don't have to say another word. That's exactly what it is. So people stop doing it. I love that you challenge us to think about research topics and not just to be spoon-fed information from the media and society at large. Your podcast helped me to call BS on my friends in both universes. Keep up the good work. One small complaint, though.
Oh.
Here we go.
Small complaint.
The small complaint, yeah. 8 or 10 episodes back, you did what you said you would never do. You opened up the alternate universe machine as part of the end of the show mix and just left us there.
I did?
I don't remember that either. That and the fact that you do the show twice a week on Thursdays has me a little messed up lately. Please,
he's going to church on Wednesday. Something's wrong.
So you see if he's on the list. He should be knighted as Sir Ichabod of the Bike Path Gorbel.
Yes, he is on the list. This is the good news. And
more to read.
Oh, sorry.
It would be this I know is not on the list. It would be appreciated if Adam could please make sure that there are extra helpings of bong hits and bourbon at the round table, as I have never been able to develop the taste for mutton and mead.
You got it. Extra bong hits and bourbon at the table. I'll take care of that. And I would like to say that although I sometimes don't agree with my beautiful wife, I soon see the error of my ways.
Sorry?
Yeah, when I don't agree with her, I soon see the error of my ways.
I'll bet you do.
Remember, candles, bathtub. Be careful.
Anyway, he says he's in Seattle, although this was Lake Forest on this on the spreadsheet. Onward.
Well, does he need
we had the pew pew and the stuff. Never mind.
If there's a need for a rescue mission, when the world is threatened, when the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
Space Force.
You've got karma.
Okay. Gene Morphus in Bellingham, Washington, 27377, be a first associate executive producer. He also sent a check and a note in. He also sent a second note for me discussing he's an accountant, and he's a CPA, and he sent me some stuff on the wealth tax notations, which I will put into my files for future discussion. ITM, gentlemen, enclosed find some value in exchange for value received. A few random comments. One. Thanks indeed for the ongoing instruction and critical thinking. A couple of years of listening has brought me to at least the post-grad level. 2. I was going to recommend a meetup here in Taxachusetts. Let me start using that.
That's a good
He's
one.
in Bellingham, Massachusetts, not Washington. Sorry. Bellingham, Massachusetts.
Got it.
Or as he calls it, Taxachusetts, which presumably would be well attended. We are going to do something in November, first part of November. And Mimi and I will be there.
Oh.
However, You've recognized very few producers from this area recently. Time to chip in, fellow Mass residents, or be called out as lazy, churlish, short-sighted, freeloading douchebags.
Yes.
A special commendation to you both for what must be an endless, painful hours of watching and listening to prattling pundits.
Yeah.
Biased newsreaders and dim-witted polls as you develop show content. A particularly unenviable occupation. My sincere thanks for taking that task on. And 4, finally, a shout out to Sir Cal, whose magic elixir has brought relief to my aching joints.
The lavender blossom salve is doing it again, huh?
That's what it does.
Fantastic.
And he would like a Putin, don't worry, be happy. Warm regards, Gene Morphus. And then he says, P.S. John, I got some thoughts on the wealth tax.
Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy.
A lot of good jingles we haven't played in a while. I appreciate that. These are nice.
Okay. Anonymous, $234.56, otherwise known as 23456. ITM and such. No jingles, no karma. Please keep me anonymous. I got so much love for you guys and the entire No Agenda family. It's out of control. I wanted to give a shout out to the book Dark Alliance by Gary Webb. Too bad he suicided himself with 2 shots to the head. Maxine Waters even did the prologue. Gotta say, what's up, or say, what's up to Grammarica 2. Peace.
I have to go on that show.
Yes.
But it's late. It's like, oh, well, we'll start at 11 on Wednesday or Saturday. It's like these horrible times for me. And I'm like,
they'll give you any time you want. They record it.
I thought they streamed it live. We'll do it live. I got to answer
record
them.
it and then stream it.
I got to answer. I got to answer them. I'm a horrible podfather. I've got to answer them. It's on my list.
Yeah, it's pretty good guys. They're.
I loved your interview, and I need to do it. That's all. I just need to do it.
They just mostly want to talk about podcasting and how it got started. They're going to tell you. They're going to make you do the history.
No. What they're going to do is they're going to go on about moon bases. And
okay. They're going to go Israeli moon bases, to be specific.
Well, that's the only kind there is.
Let's continue with Robert Brusso, who came in with $200.53, and he is in Pinckney, Michigan. ITM, John and Adam, the best podcast in the universe, just got better and better. Happy 53rd birthday to me. Now he's on the list. Shut Up Slave, still my all-time favorite. Oh, this is jingle request. Shut Up Slave, 2 to the Head, and Le Matin.
Hold on, let me see if I can. Le Matin.
Good luck.
No, I have it. So it's Shut Up, Slave, 2 to the Head. Le Matin. There you go, as requested.
Onward to our last associate executive producer, another anonymous person, anonymous from parts unknown. Dear Podfathers, please send good vibes and play an F cancer from my cousin Heidi. She was recently diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in her spine and brain. She's only 39 and an amazing middle school science teacher who constantly wins national awards, including from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Elon!
Every year, she takes her gifted students to tour NASA. She's just started a treatment this week. She's not a listener, but I hope our intentions will reach her. She truly has a lot to give the world, and we don't want to lose her early to this disease. F cancer. Thank you for your courage. P.S. John, a great write-up on wealth tax.
Yes. And, of course, we have an F cancer for her. And you never give up. You always continue to fight against it. And that's why we all wholeheartedly say...
You've got karma.
And that is our list of associate executive producers and executive producers for show 1168.
All right. Thank you, execs and associate execs. It is appreciated, as always. It's the only way the system, it's crazy. I tried to teach this Dutch guy, Robert Jensen. We talked about a big famous TV guy, and he started doing a podcast, and his podcast really took off. And now he's back. He's like, I'm gonna start doing daily now, and I'm still gonna do stuff on video at the same time, and I'm gonna have sponsors. I'm like, what are you doing? This is the only way to go.
Well, there's a thing called overextending yourself, and if you're not in a system. Like, for example, I think there's a number of people on the TV and the radio that do a lot of radio work. They do a daily show. Rush Limbaugh would be a guy who does a daily show. But the better example is Sean Hannity. He does 3 hours of radio a day, every day, except the weekends. And then he does a 1 hour TV show at night.
Yeah, and you know what he sounds like?
Neither one of us could.
Yeah, he sounds like a robot.
But I know I couldn't do anything like this. But he's in a system.
He's in a system, but it's also boring. It's a boring system. He's just a robot, and it's just it's boring because you have to fill 3 hours a day on radio, and then you carry that stuff over into. He sucks. I can't watch him.
Yeah.
Well, I watched Tucker Carlson. I got to talk about that right after. We thank everybody once again, and know that these credits, these executive producer credits, associate executive producer credits, no different than the credits you saw on the Dave Chappelle Show special. Exactly the same. It's people who help the show. In this case, you finance it, and that is highly appreciated. And I look forward to thanking more people in our second segment. And you can always support us for the Sunday show. It falls on the second Thursday of the week by going to
Dvorak.org/NA.
Yes, you too can astound your friends and family with your knowledge of Dave Chappelle. Just propagate.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, Slade. Shut up, Slade.
So I'm watching Fox News. I usually watch MSNBC during the day. And when I say watch, that means I have it streaming on my hearing aids, so I can walk around the house and do things. And but then I can always look over and see what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah, but I have no. It's what we do. It's what I do. You have to monitor this stuff and understand where people are coming from. I switch over to CNN a little bit more often these days because MSNBC, you might just call it election TV. They have nothing else but election stuff. CNN does the same, but they'll break away. Oh, let's take a look at Brexit for a second. So at least you have the idea that if something horrible happened, then I'll hear about it. And Fox, I might watch the 5 for a second in the afternoon to see who's in the leg seat and who's in the Democrat seat, which is surprisingly often is Donna Brazile, which is a head scratcher in general. And then I like to watch Tucker Carlson because he has some interesting guests on. But last night, holy crap, he did something which really pissed me. And actually, scratch that. He always does stories about marijuana that make me angry. And not so much the content of the story, but he has the same damn file footage, and I've bitched about it before. You see close up in a little box in the screen in the corner while he or the guest is talking, you see some guy with these nasty, yellow, fungus-ridden nails rolling up a joint, a shittiest joint you've ever seen. It burns holes halfway down. Then the guy licks his fingers with a big saliva drop and it's like trying to stop the burning. That is not how you consume the holy herb. He took it one step further yesterday, brought on an incredible narc who wrote a book about the topic, and to me, it was like, I'm sorry, this is nuts.
In the aftermath of the mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton, the country scrambled justifiably to understand what might have motivated the killers. Ideology seemed like an obvious reason, and we picked that apart at some length. But could it just be part of the answer? A toxicology report on the Dayton shooter, for example, revealed that he had several drugs in his system, including cocaine and Xanax. He was also known to be a longtime user of marijuana.
Now, again, Tucker is, for some reason, very anti-marijuana. You just heard him set this up by saying He's also known to be a longtime user of marijuana. If he's a heavy user, whatever his exact words were, that shit stays in your system for a couple of days. So if you're a heavy user, and I will freely admit I've been a regular user since I was 15, which was actually too young. I'll also be the first to admit you really shouldn't be smoking that stuff with your brain still developing. But to say, alcohol, Xanax, cocaine, also known to have weed, okay, well, there was nothing in the toxicology report about it, so as far as I'm concerned, it's bogus.
For example, revealed that he had several drugs in his system, including cocaine and Xanax. He was also known to be a longtime user of marijuana. It turns out, in fact, that many violent individuals have been avid marijuana users.
Let's stop the tape. Stop.
Yes.
Now, I probably would have, because I got to zone out sometimes on some of these clips. And I'm glad you stopped it to point out the obviosity of what's going on here. This report has nothing to do with marijuana. He throws it in as an afterthought, and then he makes it the topic of conversation. This is the cheapest trick. And by the way, I want to point out to people that, because I get these notes, where these guys, they like to deconstruct the media, but they never deconstruct conservative media.
Usually because it's so stupid.
This is the dumbest, cheapest, crappiest trick I've heard for quite a while. And I'm going to, before you continue, I want to mention that Tucker is in the O'Reilly spot, which has always been the anti-marijuana hour.
Why?
I don't know. You might as well ask somebody at Fox, because it appears to me now, and that you brought this up, that this has more to do with the anti-marijuana hour, which is that's exact same time slot that Tucker's in, that O'Reilly was in. And I don't know why, but that's the fact. But this is bullshit, this report.
Well, it gets worse, and I do want you to hear the narc speak. And I just want to, again, reiterate, I have standing in this area, and I am certainly not an advocate of if you're under 18.
Use the word knowledge instead of standing, please.
But
You've been overusing the word standing, when I think knowledge is a better term. And standing really, to me, means that it's legal.
You are the one that started the whole I have standing on this, very show.
I'm remiss. I will never say it again.
Instead of remiss, will you please say I'm wrong? I have knowledge of this, being a marijuana smoker from the early days when I was 15 in the Netherlands. I didn't smoke a lot, but by the time I was 17, on the weekends, definitely. And in my adult life, there was many years when I didn't smoke at all, particularly when my daughter was just born. But I've pretty much been smoking every single day for the last 30 years, almost. 25 maybe. And I'm, so maybe it's 3 a day. It depends on what the day is, what I got to do. I'm very functional. I don't think I'm a violent person. I do not have a history of violence. Yet, maybe I'm just one of the lucky ones.
Individuals have been avid marijuana users.
Well, I've never heard the association, except in Jamaica, where they smoked the ganja. I have never heard the association of marijuana with violence.
Here it comes. There's a book about it. The narc
in his system, including cocaine and Xanax, who was also known to be a longtime user of marijuana. It turns out, in fact, that many violent individuals have been avid marijuana users. Is there a connection? Well, Alex Behrens knows more about this subject than almost anybody in America. He's a former New York Times reporter and author of the fantastic book, Tell Your Children, The Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence. What is, we don't want to jump to any conclusions that are not supported by evidence, of course.
Of course.
What? He just did.
The whole intro was jumping to conclusions without any evidence.
But what is the evidence that connects marijuana use to violence?
So we know that a large number, in the wake of the Dayton killer and the information that came out about him being, having signs of mental illness and possibly being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a lot of people said, a lot of people in the media, well-meaning people in the media said, well, there's no connection between mental illness and violence. There's no real connection. People with mental illness are not really more likely to be violent than the rest of the population. That is not true. But if you talk about people with severe mental illness, people with psychosis, people with schizophrenia,
right.
Those illnesses, unfortunately, are highly linked to violence. So the best studies, which really come out of Europe, show that as many as 20% of people who commit homicides have diagnosable psychotic disorders. And that appears to be the case in the U.S. too. Wow. So we know that mental illness accounts for an appreciable amount of the extreme violence in not just in the United States, but all over the world. And we also know that cannabis can produce psychosis. Drugs in general can produce psychosis, but cannabis specifically can produce psychosis.
So, I don't think it's going way out on a limb to draw the connection then between
yes, it is!
Cannabis use, particularly I assume chronic use, and acts of violence.
I mean, what the heck? Because marijuana is known to create psychosis, and it is in young children, definitely. But that's the connection? It's not hard to make the connection between mass shooters and marijuana? Please. I think, if anything, he's trying to get drug companies to advertise on his show again. This is despicable. But why don't you talk about what the drug companies are doing? By the way, no report about Johnson & Johnson on Tucker's show. No report about the Purdue Pharma on Tucker's show. No. Let's blame mass shooting on marijuana.
That's pretty bad.
I think it's unforgivable. It is.
Okay.
It's the holy herb. Can't believe my voice skipped on that for some reason.
It actually has to.
Yeah. So, gosh, golly gee.
Golly gee whiz.
Golly gee whiz, people. Stop that. Anyway.
That's very, you should, I'll tell you, I'll make you feel better. Give him a douchebag.
Yeah.
Douchebag.
I'll give him a double.
Douchebag.
It's one for each nut. Yeah. Gosh, golly gee.
So I have an ISO. We're talking about these online guys. I was going to take a piece of this thing, but it's so stupid. I just took the ISO.
Mm-hmm.
This is Lawrence O'Donnell.
The president is a raving lunatic.
No contest. It's already in the last slot on the lineup. It's good to go. Yeah, that was quite a fun little escapade there, where he and Rachel Maddow were talking about Deutsche Bank having loans to Trump with Russian oligarchs as co-signers.
Yeah, sure.
If true, they brought back the old "if true." And what did one of Trump's personal lawyers, that you got to apologize, and he did. Oh my goodness!
So I dug up from. I took this from. Actually, I took this from one of the Alex Jones show. They dug it up. Not Alex Jones' show, but one of these other spin-offs. He's got a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from, it actually says Trump 2016, but this is actually from 2015. This is Trump talking about not getting flu shots on the Opie and whatever show it is on XM, Sirius XM.
Donald, do you get the flu shot every year?
No.
Why?
No, I don't know. I've never had one. And thus far, I've never had the flu. I don't like the idea of injecting bad stuff into your body, which is basically what they do. And I guess this one has not been very effective to start off with, but the last one. But I've never had a flu shot, and I've never had the flu. I better knock on wood. Where's some wood?
How is it that you've never had the flu with all the business you've done over the years? You're always shaking hands. That's how you get sick.
I am shaking hands, and I just don't understand it myself. But I have friends that religiously get the flu shot, and then they get the flu. You know, that helps my thinking, because I say, why am I doing this? And then I've seen a lot of reports that the last flu shot is virtually totally ineffective. I've passed on it, but that doesn't mean people should pass.
I know how he doesn't get the flu. You're a healthy guy, and I'll bet when those flu germs show up, you go, you're fired.
I fired them immediately.
Immediately, right?
Man, I can't believe people like those guys so much.
Well, I never heard him, so I don't know.
Now, unfortunately, I don't have a recent clip of the president saying how important vaccines are. He didn't say flu vaccine.
Wouldn't that be great?
But he said, oh, yeah, vaccine. Got to have them. Got to do them. Well, I do have an update from the CDC. We're in big trouble when it comes to measles. Did I see earlier in this week, breaking news? Breaking news. Woman at concert has measles. It was breaking news.
Who has measles?
Some woman, I think it was at a concert or a conference, and she had measles, and it was breaking news.
How's it breaking news?
Because she was in the midst of a lot of people, and she might have infected them with the evil measles. The evil measles. So, we got to blame. Measles. So we got to blame this measles stuff on somebody. Evil measles. We got to blame it on somebody. Who should we blame the measles out? And not just the outbreak, but we're about to get delisted as a country. This is how bad it is.
Incidents of diseases such as measles, mumps, and rubella.
Yeah, who's blaming it on?
Hold on. Can you hear it? I only have one channel. Oh, this crap piece of shit.
No, I'm not hearing anything.
You didn't hear anything at all? Oh, my goodness. This is such a great clip. Let me see if it...
Time to reboot.
Well, no, it's the stream heard it, but you're not hearing it. Well, just bear with me for a second. The beginning is not that important. You may hear the next part.
Incidents of diseases such as measles, mumps, and rubella are at an all-time low.
So low that in the year 2000, the World Health Organization declared that measles was eliminated in the United States. Now, CNN is first to report that the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says there's a, quote, reasonable chance that the U.S. will lose its measles elimination status as early as October 1st.
By the way, this is some idiot who produced this CNN report, this television report, where they did the voiceover on the left channel and everything else on the right channel. Who does that anymore?
Dr. William Schaffner is a longtime advisor to the CDC on vaccine issues.
Losing the elimination status of measles is an embarrassment.
Yeah, you can't hear it, can you? It's no fun if you can't hear that. No. Anyway, he blames it on the Jews. That's the punchline.
What?
Yeah, on the Orthodox Jews in New York who refused.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Who refused to get the vaccinated.
Yeah, that's their fault.
It was pretty lame, man. But anyway, so we're in danger of losing our measles eradicated status on the world stage. I'm not quite sure.
So what?
That is an embarrassment.
To who?
To the country.
I didn't even know it existed.
I don't know which body does this. I'm sorry that clip is unhearable for you. Very interesting that they did that.
Should have monoed it before you.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. I would have. I was dealing with the Microsoft Monday. What can I tell you?
So, that's something else that we're talking about disease. Let's go to the mosquito report.
Oh, boy. Now what?
More than a pest, tonight some mosquitoes from the Midwest to the East Coast are carrying a virus that can kill people in days. Spreading across wet, warm regions where mosquitoes thrive, Eastern equine encephalitis, or EEE, is being detected at an alarming rate.
Her brain is trying to heal itself, and she can't do anything until that happens.
14-year-old Savannah DeHart is one of 3 suspected cases in Michigan.
It's been probably the worst time of my life. I watched my daughter almost check out.
While extremely rare, EEE is incredibly deadly, a mortality rate of 30%. With no vaccine, the virus targets the central nervous system, causing swelling of the brain. Mother and wife, Lori Sylvia, died over the weekend, the 4th confirmed case of EEE in Massachusetts.
This is one of the most deadly mosquito-borne infections.
With nearly 30 communities now at critical risk in the state, tonight health officials are warning residents in parts of New Jersey, Michigan, and Massachusetts to avoid outdoor activity during dusk and dawn. The heightened concern comes just before the holiday weekend as many flock to the outdoors. The advice is simple: use bug spray with DEET on your body and your clothes and avoid standing water where mosquitoes breed. Tonight, a warning: protect yourself from a small bug with a deadly bite.
You might die.
Yeah.
It's possibly that was a native ad for DEET.
I was going to say, why did they that? Because that's a brand. No, that's not a chemical.
No, it's not a brand. It's a chemical that's in various brands of insect repellent.
Could be. I had not heard about the killer mosquitoes.
Oh, you're gonna die.
So, what exactly are they infected with?
Equine encephalitis something. EEE.
Encephalitis, where your head swells, your brain swells, correct?
Yeah, your brain swells, and then you're kind of you're lucky.
You die
if you get through without being brain damaged.
Well, thanks for that uplifting
report. I have
a
neurologist that lived next door, and they told me about some of these brain swelling diseases. And the way you're supposed to do it, if you catch it while the brain is swelling, what you have.
If you catch it while your brain is swelling. They
do.
I have a headache.
To lessen the swelling.
Oh, God.
You have to do. You have to. Nobody talks about this. You have to drill a hole in the skull and let the excess fluid, which is accumulating, stream out like you drain it.
Nice.
It's like collecting maple syrup.
You put a little tap in there.
Yeah, and you got a little bucket at the bottom. I always thought that was gruesome, but okay, well, whatever. You have to be very careful when you drill, I guess. You don't want to get any shards.
Let's do a little OTG off the grid report.
Oh, good.
Couple of things here. First, big news, Ring.
Wait, where's the jingle? Come on, I like the jingle.
Oh, well, which one would you like?
OTG going OTG. I'm an OTG kind of guy. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm OTG. You can't find me. Yes, I'm OTG. You can't find me. Yeah, I'm OTG. No eyes on me.
Like that? You happy? Happy with the OTG jingle?
Yeah.
That's the OTG. Yes. Okay. Big news came out. As we kind of expected, Amazon has well, we're not going to say Amazon. We'll say doorbell camera company Ring, owned by Amazon, has partnered with 400 police forces across the United States, granting them potential access to homeowners' camera footage and a powerful role in what the community calls the nation's new neighborhood watch. The partnership allows police to automatically request video recorded by homeowners' cameras within a specific time and area, helping officers see footage from the company's millions of internet-connected cameras installed nationwide. I just want to read that again. Helping officers see footage from the company's millions of internet-connected cameras installed nationwide. Now, you're the company's customers, but okay, they're yours, I guess. Probably in the EULA. Officers will not receive ongoing or live video access, and homeowners can decline the requests, which Ring sends via email. And I have a feeling that if you don't respond, they just do it anyway, and why the hell wouldn't they allow access regardless of what you say? This is so bad. We have created a security state in our own neighborhoods. Everybody on my street has them. You cannot walk on my street without someone seeing you.
You must obey.
That's exactly what it is. I find this very disturbing, and I don't know what to do. You can't vandalize them because everyone sees you walking up. So I don't know is there any thinking on how we can...
You can vandalize them.
Yeah, but I don't want to be caught vandalizing.
No, here's how you do it. A little tip for any vandals out there. We probably have a few listeners who are vandals, the humorous ones. You put a ski mask on, run out of your house as fast as you can. But first of all, you put a piece of wood or something in front of your own ring. And then, so it's like, oh, I didn't know it was there. Then you
wait, hold on. You're going too fast. I got to take notes. Hold on. Okay, put block of wood. Wood
in front of your own ring.
Would gaffer's tape be okay? All right, wood. Yes, wood. Got it.
Put a ski mask on. Grab a spray can of.
Do I need a rope for this as well?
No, just a spray can of black
and a MAGA hat.
Use Rust-Oleum paint because it's got some chemicals in there that might scratch up the lens.
Yeah.
And then run over to your neighbors and spray the thing as fast as you can, making sure that you can't be seen from other Ring doorbells, leaving your own house. If you can make sure of that, then you can do it.
No, the whole street is, we're on a cul-de-sac, so we're blanketed all the way around.
I don't think you can see your porch from another house.
The minute you get on the street, everybody can see you. So the minute you walk out your driveway, everybody can see me. In this configuration, we're in a cul-de-sac. That's where we live. So I don't like your idea. I wish there was something. I wish I could. Can you destroy them with a laser? Can I shine a laser? Well, that used to ruin cameras. That won't work anymore, will it?
I don't think a laser is going to do much. I mean, it's possible from a distance if you had a high enough output laser, which is probably illegal to begin with. Something you don't want to play with. You could probably blast them, one at a time, but you have to be a pretty good shot.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, maybe a drone. Maybe a drone with a spray can attachment or something. That's an idea. That would work.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah.
A drone with a spray can attachment or like one of those drones that holds like a 45 and shoots to shoot the thing out.
Strap the judge to my drone. We'll take care of that for you. Yeah. Anyway, so there's your security state. And believe me, it's going to come to bite people in the ass. But okay. See. Oh, I got an interesting note from one of our anonymous.
That was it for
producers.
The off the grid segment?
This is.
By the way, what is the phone that you have? Is it an app? You said it was an iPhone 5 something.
Yeah, hold on. This is still part of the OTG segment, just because I'm going into an email.
Oh,
yes, the iPhone 5 is the lowest number. I used to be on the Nokia E71. I still have it. I still like that device, but it's 3G only, and that's starting to go away, and it has problems.
Curiously,
what?
Jay has found an accessory for your phone.
For the Nokia?
No, for the iPhone 5.
Well, then let me tell you about my setup, and then I want to hear
sending it over.
And then I want to hear what the accessory is. So, in order to be prepared for the ultimate shutdown of 3G, the lowest iPhone that will do 4G LTE is the iPhone 5. You don't want the SE, you want the 5. If the 5 has good battery life, you want to turn first of all, you buy it off of Amazon between $125 $150. And it comes in, it's completely fresh and new, so you have to create an Apple account, which you just do a bogus name, and you get like an Apple ID, and you do not put your credit card or anything in. That's just so you can get through the process of setting it all up. There is one little gotcha that I ran into because I wanted the latest software update for that phone available, because that would allow me to use my hearing aids. It's also the first phone that had the hearing aid integration from Apple. You have to sync it through iTunes because it will no longer download that automatically over the air. So you have to do some work. Now, so once that's done, you turn off all of the iCloud stuff, turn off backups, turn everything off, all the privacy settings to the left, off, no location. And I kind of trust Apple's device in this regard. I think that they're pretty fair. If you're not logged in through iCloud, now, of course, your maps won't know where you are, and you only want to use Apple Maps if you have to. But the thing about this phone is you could flip it on. Also, you're not going to install any apps except for one. And this is the tricky part, because this is where you do need to consider if you want to pay for this or not. And that's called Privacy Pro. And you can get one, I think, free, but you really want the paid version. And that is the equivalent of a Pi-hole for your iPhone 5. So you can block any URL. It comes loaded with all kinds of links that it'll block, and you can fully block Google, Twitter, Facebag, and Instagram. None of that stuff will work. You can add things, and it's essentially a VPN. So what you are left over with after you go through all this, and I should probably write it up and do a video, which I think I'll do, just so people have the steps. Then you will have a phone that does calling. It does. You can use the podcast app that works reasonably well. You can do text messaging, and you also want to make sure that iMessage shit is shut off. So none of that. You don't want to be, because you'll get locked into their system. So don't use that. And you'll have a web browser, and the web browser is really underpowered. You can barely do Twitter with it if you want to. Twitter, of course, a heavy site just on the web browser itself. But if you just want to, do something really quick, it's possible. And email. Now, email is not going to be a great experience, but if I'm out on a Saturday afternoon, I get the newsletter email from you. I want to take a look at it. It takes me longer. It's a pain in the ass. But the flip side is I have no reason to grab this phone to look at something really quick because it's a pain in the ass. So either you don't look at it, you ask someone else, a handy interdimensional millennial who might be nearby, hey, look that up for me. I learned that from you. It works very well. Or you just don't do it. Go home and we'll do it there. And I feel that Google has having a hard time tracking me. And it's blocking all of these wonderful little URLs with trackers and clickers, etc. So, and the battery lasts a long time because there's no apps that are spying on you and talking to home base. In fact, nothing goes out of there.
I think you're going to bring down Google.
I hope so.
Well, we have a case that we found, brand new in the box.
Did you email it to me?
No, I'm not going to email it to you. I'm going to mail it to you.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to like it was a picture or something. Okay.
No, I got a thing to send you, and it's a case, but it also has a battery in it, so your battery life will last for months.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I will try it out, but I really like the very light. I pick up the Keeper's phone.
You don't like having a case, you're going to drop it.
Oh, I've dropped this phone already.
And it hasn't busted into a million pieces?
No. Huh. Haven't had. They
fixed that problem.
Chipped the corner off. Yeah, because it has an actual metal rim, not all glass that shatters on impact. But you pick up an iPhone 10, like, whoa. What is this brick you're carrying around? No, I love it. And I don't use it. I use it for phone calls, text messaging, and maybe an email. And that's it. That's all you want, and you're reasonably secure. Still not the best, but it's better than nothing. And you got the 4G. Anonymous says he works at a university, or she, and the second day of class, administration was left flat-footed after a technology glitch. Over the past several years, the school has moved to automated door locks on many buildings and classrooms. These doors are unlocked at specific times of day and days of the week based on a central server. Well, after a nightly technology glitch, the network servers were down in the morning, and guess what? The students couldn't get into classrooms. Employees couldn't get into their buildings. Employees who found their building's master key found it did not open most of the doors. Police were asked to break down the doors. And can you imagine what kind of crap we're going to run into in the future? This is just the start.
I don't understand why anyone would think this was a good idea.
Well, I think it's, I don't know. I don't know why it's
that apartment that you used to live in have this system like this, and if just the power went out, people would be stuck in or out?
No, it was the elevator.
Oh, okay.
It was the elevator that you have to pre-program the floor you want to go to, and so all the panels turn off. But yeah, you also can't access certain areas because the swipe card, the RFID system doesn't work, which is surprising. We have Texas. This is another thing I will not do. We have toll roads in Austin, particularly we have a toll lane on Mopac. And you have this, for like the tolls in San Francisco for the bridge or whatever, you got a box, right? And how big is this box that they gave you to put in your car?
It's about 3 inches by 3 inches.
Is it powered or is it no battery?
No, it's
right?
passive. It's RF. It's passive. Yeah. It's induction.
So they have now. It's just a sticker. It's just a sticker.
That's all you need is a sticker.
Yeah, but these things. The thing over the highway, that's about 10 feet in the air. That's a good distance. It's passively powering this RFID sticker, and it's blasting it back. I'm impressed. 10 feet.
You're probably getting irradiated.
10 feet at least.
Of induction.
I'm telling you.
It's like that cooking machine, it's this cool burner, you put a piece of metal on it, it starts heating up.
If you, by any chance,
all your fillings are going to be heating up.
If everybody would like to take a look at their smartphones, if you got them, shame on you. Make sure you do not have the Foursquare app still lurking on there somewhere. I don't know if anyone even uses Foursquare anymore, but several years ago
I've checked in.
Well,
I've checked in.
Yes, apparently they've automated some of that check-in stuff based upon where you've been in the past or where you're going. This company still makes, according to reports, $100 million a year off of location data. And that's just from these zombie apps, because they have because of the check-ins and where certain locations are. If you're on the 5th floor of a building or the 9th floor, the Foursquare app somehow knows that still, based upon, they have 100 million profiles, and still people leave this app on their phone. You just don't think about it, but it's communicating your exact data back continuously. Remove that.
Wasting battery.
Wasting battery too. Remove that from your phone. So as I'm doing all kinds of research about tracking, etc., I came across a movie which is on YouTube, which I don't know if we talked about it. I'd never seen it, called A Good American. Have you heard of this movie?
Is this the cartoon?
No, that's Team America. A Good American is about the NSA, in particular Bill Binney's story. And Bill Binney, the whistleblower. But there's a part of the story that I'd never heard, and this is a must-see. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's well done. It's professionally done. It's a little slow from time to time. But he goes through this scenario that he and his small team within the NSA had built a metadata-only tracking system called ThinThread. And it was so good that it was automatically predicting things were going to happen based upon the algorithms they had built. It was predicting them, not after the fact, but they could say, in fact, they came closer within 24 hours of something happening. What was it? I think the coal, U.S. coal attack, and they hadn't even completed the system at that point. And what he also had done, or Binney and his team, is they had encrypted all of the metadata nodes. So you would never know who was talking to who. They were just represented by a cryptographically signed or generated hash, I guess. And so if you wanted to find out who it was after seeing the patterns, because that's what it was all about for this particular system, then you could always get a warrant and then get the private key out of the vault and unlock it. And this system works so well that when one of the bosses, before the boss who you're going to hear about in a second, came in, said, well, what if he gave you $1 billion? What could you do with this program? And Binney, and his team went away, and they thought about it, and they came back and said, well, for $300 million, we can blanket the entire world with this system. We really don't know how to spend the other $1.1 billion. So in 2001, a new leader of the NSA came in. Do you remember who that was? An old favorite of ours. That was General Hayden. Exactly. Yeah. Hayden came in, and now I'm going to switch over to a piece of this movie.
General Hayden hired Bill Black to come in and take over the deputy directorship. Once Bill Black was brought in from SAIC, where he had been a vice president, the following spring he brought in another senior vice president from SAIC, and that person was Sam Visner. And who gets the contract to develop Trailblazer? SAIC. What's wrong with this picture?
SAIC was a private company. It is made up basically of retired NSA individuals. People from NSA retire and they'll go into a company like SAIC, and then they'll use their contacts back at NSA to get contracts back to SAIC.
So this was really the start of what would become an incredible boondoggle, as the ThinThread system, which was working, had accurately predicted things that NSA had not even seen before, and retroactively found these patterns as well, which they had missed. No, Hayden had decided that it was going to be ThinThread was going away, and it was going to be Trailblazer. And Trailblazer was all these big consulting firms. You heard about SAIC coming in, all the big manufacturers, billions of dollars on the line, consultants everywhere. They shut down the thing that was working perfectly well. And these guys came in and started to create this huge storage of everything, unencrypted, no cryptographic masking of names, etc. And it's a fantastic story to hear how all they cared about was just big money from their own buddies. And then listen to this last clip about 9/11. I remember Hayden came in 2001.
The day after 9/11, I came in dressed like I was going to sweep the floor, so the guards let me in. Otherwise, they would have kept me out then, too, because that day that General Hayden had ordered everybody out of the building, too.
I just need to mention that you'll hear a name here who was the number 3 in command, Maureen Baginski, and you'll hear her about in this clip. So she was the 3rd in command under Hayden.
So when I got in there, I went up to the SARC, and while I was in there trying to look at the material on my computer, my president of the contracting group that I had working on ThinThread came over to me and said that he had just been in a contractor meeting with Sam Visner. And in that meeting, Sam Visner had told him that he said to him, "Do not embarrass large companies. You do your part, you'll get your share. There's plenty for everybody." And he also said that Sam had said that we could milk this cow for 15 years.
We began to go out to the workforce, and I would accompany Maureen Baginski. The workforce took this extraordinarily hard. People would ask her, "What are you going to do?" And I still remember her saying, 9/11 is a gift to NSA. We're going to get all the money we need and then some. Direct quote. 9/11 is a gift to NSA. All she saw was dollars coming from Congress, and we would get to spend freely.
It makes my stomach turn.
Yeah,
they
pretty disgusting.
They compromised the country, and
they don't give a shit about the country.
No, they don't.
They care about their pocketbooks. These people should be rousted.
They should be rousted, and they should be
roasted,
beaten with rubber tubing in front of Ring cameras for all the world to see. And Hayden especially, and we always thought he was creepy, and we know these things are about boondoggles. I hadn't heard this history.
No, I haven't heard this story either. I'm going to have to watch this now. Thanks.
You'll like it. A Good American is the title.
Well, I've always liked Benny. Benny and Thomas Drake are my two of the, and there's 2 or 3 other guys.
Yeah.
But those are the main two guys that I like, Drake and Benny.
I think Drake was the second guy you heard in that clip. I don't remember.
Could be. But Drake's the guy who gives his lecture, and he always starts it off with, nowadays he starts off, "Never talk to the FBI."
Don't talk to the feds, man, ever.
Because if you remember, Thomas Drake was another whistleblower, and before he got, busted, he actually went through the normal channels you're supposed to do, and that included talking to the FBI about some bad things going on at the NSA, and they just took all what he said and turned it against him and arrested him.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Oh, yeah. They rousted those guys. They took all their files from their home, everything, pointed guns at them while they were in the shower.
Yeah.
It's so corrupt. It's so corrupt to its damn core.
In the meantime, you have all these congressmen saying, well, these people, they went outside protocol. No, they never did go outside protocol. They were in protocol. That's the problem.
They created the protocol, and Hayden went on to run the CIA.
Yeah.
Jackasses, man. So while we're on OTG, and this will be I got tons of stuff to talk about, but please stop using Uber and Lyft. You're getting ripped off. Besides that, they're selling all of your data. I noticed this years ago, maybe 2 years ago, that I was getting weird pricing based upon just who I was, because if Tina standing next to me used the Uber app on her phone, she'd get a lower price. Now it's coming out. Ars Technica had a big article about especially how Uber is, when it comes to surge pricing, they'll charge twice or three times as much as the fare, only give the driver like $5. So it could be that there's a $90 charge with surge pricing, and the driver still gets $15. This is a horrible company. I think people don't even know.
The kids use it.
Well, they use Lyft, but I think Lyft is similar. It's all based on algorithms, and they're just charging you shit. Do whatever they want to do. I just take it. Fine. So don't use that. I'm going back.
Last time I was tempted, I don't use these things. I've actually used a regular cab. But sure, here I am. I'm getting off of one time. There was nobody to pick me up from the airport, so I took the BART through the whole system and ended up over in El Cerrito. I just had to take a cab home.
Meet any friends while you were on BART? Must have been fun.
No, it's not very sociable, to be honest about it.
It's drug addicts on BART.
Anyway, so I come back and I have a Lyft account, and so I said, well, it's Lyft. There was a car right around the corner, and the price, it was $7.50. I said, and there was a cab sitting there waiting. So I just jump in this cab. Hell with this. I got back, and I got to the house, and what was the fee? You think?
Okay, the fee. What do you mean the fee?
What did I pay to the cabbie?
Oh, versus the $15 for the app?
No, versus the $7.50 I would have had to pay Lyft.
I have no idea.
$7.50.
It's exactly the same?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, what's the point?
Well, you get to wait around instead of going straight to a cab. I mean, the cabs in Austin are not great at the airport. Not a fan. I use it though. I'm tired of. I'm burned out
have somebody
on it.
Pick you up.
Yeah, well, like you, we have children who don't give a shit. You come back from a trip, they're not there to pick you up. There's nothing in the house. Everything's dark. Your weed is gone. I mean, it's all this stuff. It's just horrible. Can't win, I tell you.
33.
I don't know why that happened. I didn't mean to do that.
You know what the clip you should have played during your little thing there with Bob Binney was the pre-crime clip.
Oh, do we still have that? We haven't played that in a long time.
There's pre-crime.
Well, let's see.
It's probably under pre-crime.
It might be under pre-crime. Let me see. Yeah, I think this is it.
Getting convicted.
Nope, that's not it. I have a lot of pre-crime, but it's all. I don't have the
jingle.
Why wouldn't I have that jingle? I do, however, have this jingle.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab.
Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Well, I'm going to have you play that again because I have a lead in here for this. It's a clip that would be what we'd be doing on this show had it not been for our model.
Okay, it sounds exciting.
This is the second part of Malcolm Gladwell's podcast, Revisionist History. I noticed we played the opening of his show a couple of shows ago, but in the middle of the show, he interrupts things to bring in his sponsor and kowtow to him in this clip.
I'm back with Mo Kataba. We're talking about 5G, the next great digital revolution, the revolution beyond the phone.
Today, an ambulance pulls up to the hospital and you've got to hand off data to the medical professionals inside the hospital. With 5G, you can imagine that becomes an automated process, which also helps patient lives. It's more efficient and you're handing off the data more precisely. It's a beautiful thing. And then more long term becomes, how do we think through training doctors to become better surgeons faster? In the future, using augmented reality, you can literally watch the best surgeons on earth perform surgery and learn as if it's you doing it. With augmented reality, you can overlay the scan of the patient, if you will, so you never have to look away from them. It can help guide you on the next thing you need to do as part of your surgery.
And presumably, when you're training someone, you would no longer have to be in the room as you train them. You could have access to a wide number of people who are giving you advice because they could all watch through your eyes, right?
Exactly.
Wait, this is just a general 5G native ad? What the hell? It's just for the whole industry?
Well, he's from AT&T, so it's for AT&T.
Oh, you're right. It's the oh, gosh. Well, that's pathetic.
I like the part where, because of 5G, you can hand off the documents in a much smoother way somehow. I don't know how that works.
Just jam it into that little hole in your phone. You know, like
idea that works.
All right, let's try this again.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Instead of thanking AT&T, we're going to thank our
people who really matter.
People who really matter, including, of course, gets demeaned by our man's name here. So Sir Fomer Brahmin of the Tehachapi Loop. So Sir Fomer contributed $111.11.
Oh, he's moved to. He says he's moved to Harrison, New Jersey. Not far from my old stomping grounds. All right.
Jersey! Jack London Square.
Mm-hmm.
Do it live. Sir Cal, Northville.
There he is.
Michigan. Sir Cal, our Lavender Blossoms guy.
LavenderBlossoms.org is where you can get the finest CBD salves and creams, and we're not getting paid to say that. We actually use the product.
Yeah, it's a good product. $111.11. And he says, can you see my address? I live on Curry Road.
Yeah, it's with IE, though. It doesn't count.
Mark Hall, your buddy in Austin, you talked about earlier, $101.33.
What does he say? Dear John Adam, the No Agenda sad puppy has kept me awake at night this week, sending a hundo for milk bones. Also, is $1 as a tip on the hip for Raven from Reseda.
$1.
33 to go to the Find Epstein's Killer GoFundMe set up by Master Sleuth O.J. Simpson. Good work as always, fellas. Mark Hall, man. He's one of the special ones in Austin.
John Patrick, $100. John S. Christek, $100, and he's got a completed knighthood. He completes my knighthood.
And he wants a Jobs Karma, which will give him as a part of the compilation at the end. He's getting started in a new role. And, ketamine and whippets all around at the table. Let me order those. Because he will be... He will be at the round table in a few moments.
Kyle Winfield in Cedar Park, Texas, $98.99. Sir Brian Kaufman in Scottsdale, Arizona, $75.75. Jeffrey Fields, $66.50. James Rogers, $55.55. Chris Spradling in Healdsburg, California, $55.10. Double nickels on the dime, wine country. He needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Joseph Stokes, we give you some karma at the end there, Chris. Joseph Stokes in Montgomery, Texas, double nickels on the dime. Peter Chong,
Joseph needs a F-Cancer karma for Patsy's full recovery. Love, Brandon. So we'll take care of that in a moment.
Peter Chong, $55.10. Aaron Newberry, $55.33. Sir Austin of the Snowy Cascades with a birthday coming up for somebody, $51.50. He's in Sammamish.
Well, he says he's doubling down, he says, as he forgot to wish Dame Laura of the Snowy Cascades a happy birthday for Friday when she turns 52. And it's his first donation? No. 52 in my first donation. I'm not sure what he means.
But probably this one, which is a Sir Austin, and the second donation of $51.50.
Okay, got it.
Cassandra Hudson in Kitchener, Ontario, $50.50.
Happy birthday, Hubwub, Love, Schnoo, and Caleb. Okay, we dive at dawn. Red Sparrow.
Brother. Wet bird flies at night. Maxine Waters Gravel comes in with $50.05, and I believe that Maxine's Waters Gravel is the one that sent me the hat that says "Make Hillary Run Again."
Yes, he says small batch, limited edition, unofficial, no agenda, Make Hillary Run Again hats. 3 only. 3. First 3 executive donations to the next No Agenda show using promo code Gravel can have one. I don't know about
nice hat.
Yeah, I don't know about all the extra promotions.
Another one of our fine promotions.
We can't keep track of the promotions.
Anyway, make notes. Anyone who wants to be an executive producer, just put gravel in there. We'll get you the hat. So Scott Nelson in Melbourne, Florida, $50.01. And the following people are $50 donors, name and location. Short list today. Dustin Johnson, $50. Tyler Boyd, $50. Tim Cambrell from Corinth, Texas.
His 50th today.
Birthday coming up. Robert Fittler in Mars, Pennsylvania. Darren Daniszewski in Dubai, Arab Emirates. Jefferson photos. Jeffrey Zellen in Oakland, Michigan. Richard Gardner, Sir Richard, I believe. Parts unknown. Sir Peter Totes in Sugar Land, Texas. Eric Dutro in Flint, Michigan. And last but not least, the Baron Sir Alan Bean in Oakland, California. Thank you all for helping produce show 1168.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we don't have to. Can you imagine you and I shilling for 5G for AT&T? I would rather be really poor. I don't think I could even do it.
I don't. It's just shameless.
I mean,
I think Gladwell should be ashamed of himself. He makes plenty of money doing his books.
We are so ingrained in this model. I mean, do you even get interview requests from like television or mainstream or radio anymore? Ever? No, me neither. But from time to time, something comes in. I'm like, no, I don't even answer sometimes. It's like, I don't want to do it. What they asked me to do the other day. Oh, did we talk about this? The most dangerous roads?
No,
hey,
you didn't talk about this.
Come do this reality show. It's called The Most Dangerous Roads. And you get paid pretty well. But I'm like, what do you mean most dangerous roads? Well, yeah, you drive with a partner celebrity on the most dangerous road, and it could be anywhere from 6 to 9 days. I'm like, yeah, no. Those dangerous roads. Why would you want to do that? Just to be made fun of because they'll make you look stupid.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something is stupid. Yeah, you're stupefied.
So we love this model, and not just because. I mean, even I'm looking at my buddy in Holland. It's just the two of us. Yeah, we have Eric the Shill, of course. He does back office. There's quite a lot of...
And there's Void Zero and Bemrose.
Oh, you can't forget the guys who are making it all run. But really what's amazing is that we have not just this core group, but we have tens of thousands maybe of producers who are actively producing in a producing role. And thank you. I got several messages with the same topic, people saying, I know you've received it 1,000 times, but you said to send it anyway, and thank you. That's very good. I highly appreciate it. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. But clips, you name it. We have a postmodern performance in this show that can only be done with you. And this is a big part of it, because we can't be sitting around without being able to pay the mortgage or the rent or what. These days I got a mortgage. So thank you very much. And also thank you to everybody who came in under $50. That's usually for anonymity, but also we have people on our subscriptions. Go check them out and support the show, support the work. You get 3 hours per show. What's it worth to you? You determine, and you can send it in at
Dvorak.org/NA.
Okay, some karmas as requested.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Hey, we got a real list for a change, a real list of birthdays. Nathan Lee, a.k.a. Occult Fan, says happy birthday to his smoking hot girlfriend, JJ. He celebrates today. Sir Ray Jacobson says happy birthday to his son, Tristan, who will be 24 on the 31st. Robert Brousseau turns 53 on the 31st. Austin Wilson says happy birthday to Dame Laura of the Snowy Cascade. She's turning 52. Cassandra Hudson, happy birthday to Hub Wub. Tim Kimbrell, 50. This was on the 25th, so we're a little belated on that. Also, happy birthday to my daughter, Christina Curry. She turned 29 on August 27th, if you can believe it. And she's a Virgo baby like I am. I'll be celebrating on the 3rd. So happy birthday, everybody, from all your friends here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes.
Kind of a quickie for today, but it's nice to have a title change. Sir Hoopensoccer becomes a baronet today after he has contributed once again $1,000 in support to your No Agenda show, the best podcast in the universe. And we have 2 knightings to take care of, so if you can hand over your... Hello? You got your blade?
Right here.
Okay, and sometimes I don't know if you're gone and you walked off. All right, bam! There you go. John Fiddler and John Christek. Both of you, please head on over to the podium right there next to the lectern. You see before you the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. They await your arrival. Thank you for supporting the No Agenda show in the amount of $1,000 or more. I'm very proud to pronounce the KC, Sir Ichabod of the Bike Path Gorbel, and Sir Baltimore of the Mud Flats. Gentlemen, for you, we've got hookers and blow, rent boys and Chardonnay, extra bong hits and bourbon, ketamine and whippets. We got chilled potato vodka, Rubenesque women and rosé, geishas and sake, vodka and vanilla, sparkling cider and escorts, ginger ale and gerbils, breast milk and pablum, and the effervescent mutton and mead. Now, not everyone has mutton and mead today. We know that some extra bong hits and bourbon were requested, so you can use that as well. And please go to noagendanation.com/rings and talk to Eric the Shill. He'd be more than happy to get your ring out to you once you have all of the sizes and your address, etc.
No Agenda Meetup.
The meetups, yet another thing that no other podcasts can do like we do, because you do it. That's the great part about it. This is how our value for value model works. We got a meetup report from Lincoln, Nebraska, with a nice picture. It was all dudes this time. Hey, Adam and John wanted to write in, share a report about the Nebraska No Agenda meetup. Ended up being 12 guys that attended. We had a university professor, a No Agenda knight, a big pharma shill, and a guy who lives in a van down by the river. Think about that for a second. Where are you going to have this combination of people in one place? Everyone was cool and down to earth. The conversations flowed. Everyone was cool as hell, actually, and we all agreed to have another. Hope to see more people at the next one. I encourage any No Agenda listener to attend or organize a meetup in their area. And I want to thank our dude named Daniel, who is running noagendameetups.com. He has a couple of updates to the site. We now have a working map view for the meetups. This is cool. So you can zoom out and see all the international meetups. As long as the producers enter the address of the venue correctly, events should flow straight into the map. Very important. There are now files for people to print. You'll find it under resources, the resources menu. These are, of course, our heads for printout to put on sticks. And a big request was RSVPs. Many people were asking for them. It is now integrated into the system. For event organizers, log in at the top right hand of the site. You'll see a list of your upcoming events. This is fantastic. Again, the value for value model. You see how it works right before your very eyes. You do not get this kind of stuff in mainstream. It's only what we can do here. And I congratulate everybody on this. Now, a quick list of what's coming up. We have Burning Man today. That's Black Rock City, Nevada. Of course, I don't even have to mention this because you're already there and you can't listen at all. Do they have connection up there? Do they have bandwidth? Do they have internet?
They're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to. The 31st of August, we've got 2, Busan, South Korea, and Sao Paulo, and added Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. September 5th, Seattle, the 6th in Calgary, Alberta. September 7th, Zurich, 11th in Orlando. The 14th, Pittsburgh and El Paso, Las Cruces. The 20th of September, Southeast Louisiana, Nelson, British Columbia, Southeast London, and Salem, Oregon. The entire world, 4 corners of the earth almost, will be meeting with No Agenda producers on the 20th, the 21st, Eastern North Carolina, the 26th, Las Vegas and Luxembourg, San Antonio on the 27th, the 28th in Copenhagen. I think this may be a new entry. And I would like to request, if anyone is so willing, to consider organizing a meetup at Delray Beach, Florida, for Friday, February 21st. The Keeper and I will be there. We would love to attend a meetup. Again, if you're in the area and you'd like to organize it, go to noagendameetups.com, and we're looking for a Delray Beach, or in that general area, Delray Beach meetup Friday, February 1st. And thank you for participating in this social experiment that are the No Agenda meetups. I find it to be incredibly exciting personally. I love that this is happening. It's something about it that is bigger than us and hopefully legacy. You'll make friends and contact in your area. And hopefully some of those will be around much longer than we are or the show.
Yeah.
Sounded kind of fatalistic, I know, but what can I say?
I got a couple of things here I want to get out of the way. One, I've been noticing these 6-week cycle events I'm just marking them all 6-week cycles so over time we can see if any of them actually are.
Mm-hmm.
There was one a couple of weeks ago. Some doofus did something stupid. This is one here's a little bit more dubious even than the one from the last one, and I'll explain why.
Also breaking the new...
Sorry, you want me to say?
I'll explain why after the clip.
Also breaking the new mass shooting plot that authorities say they have foiled tonight. A student at High Point University in North Carolina arrested with guns in his dorm. NBC's Steve Patterson on what police say he was planning and how they caught him.
Good afternoon, sir. You're in court today.
The 19-year-old suspect appearing in court via video conference today.
Are you accepting this attorney's services as your attorney?
Yes, that's okay. Prosecutors say High Point University student Paul Stieber wanted to carry out America's next mass shooting, but that campus security guards foiled the alleged plot when they confiscated this 9mm semi-automatic handgun and 12-gauge shotgun plus ammunition from his dorm room. Mm-hmm. Prosecutors say Stieber, a Boston native, planned to shoot up the school, confessing his timeline to kill people had been planned since December and that he had studied other mass shootings.
He definitely had a plan and had been researching.
The district attorney told the court Stieber chose to enroll at school in North Carolina because it was easier to buy weapons. State law prohibits the possession of firearms on school grounds. Stieber faces charges for having weapons on campus and for communicating a threat of mass violence. University officials say they discovered the alleged plot when other students alerted security. Kate?
Steve Patterson, thank you.
Okay.
Steve Patterson's the guy that talks funny. Now, this is bull crap. The guy had a gun. He had a semi-automatic gun, which he kept in his room, which he's not supposed to do, I guess, on this school. And then this so-called shotgun looked like an old blunderbuss. I don't even know if it was a shotgun.
Like with the big hammers on the top. Big horn at the end.
Pretty much didn't have the horn at the end, but it had big giant hammers. I mean, if it was anything, it might have been some old shotgun. I have
a double barrel 20 gauge with hammers on top. They're beautiful.
Okay, well, then they had that. So this is not a gun for a mass shooting. You need a pump action gun that holds some shells and you can pump away.
Oh, do tell, John. What else do we need for mass shooting?
Well, you don't want a double barrel shotgun with hammers at the top.
No.
And then they had a pistol. Big deal. He didn't have he was just dumb.
Did he have a military style assault rifle?
No, he had this stupid shotgun. If it was that, I still think it was a blunderbuss. And a pistol. That's it. What kind of mass shooting is he going to do?
Now, it said that he communicated that he wanted to execute a mass shooting. So where did he communicate?
They don't talk about it. It's like he said something to his girlfriend, or I have no idea. This is bullcrap. This is just a bad story.
Well, no, it's a story that keeps everybody looking like they know what they're doing, and we're protecting the public. Because yes, you see, we can thwart mass shootings.
Yeah, good example.
That's what it is. Exactly.
Now, the other clip, which is also from NBC, which really irked me, because we did this clip over a year ago, and we could have gotten on NBC. We could have done some publicity. I don't know why we can't get publicity for some of our good work.
Because we're old white men. Hello?
So here is the story that they did on NBC, which is the story we did a year ago, but they're going to do it anyway. And, of course, there's no way they have no solution. They don't bring in Elizabeth Warren. They don't bitch and moan. They don't do anything. This is the phone call scammer story.
Here's a twist on yet another story about criminals using phone scams to trick people into giving up personal information. This week, the tables were turned on one con artist when a police captain answered the call. NBC's Tom Costello has more on how the scammer got scammed.
Can you verify me your home address?
No, I will not.
Ann Stevens admits she enjoyed messing with the scammer.
I need you to verify me with the last 4-digit number of your Social Security.
I'm not going to confirm my Social Security number with you.
Without a clue he was talking to an Apex, North Carolina police captain, the phone crook claimed he was a Social Security officer, and in 45 minutes, she'd be arrested on serious charges.
Like money laundering, drug trafficking, and for Internal Revenue Service.
I'm going to be charged with drug trafficking?
Absolutely.
The sheriff's department's not coming to get me. I'm pretty sure of that.
She posted the video as a warning to victims, especially the elderly.
We wanted them to see they're going to use any tactic they can to try to scare you into believing that something's going to happen so you'll give up your personal information. And we just want people to know, never do that.
If you do not tell me how many bank accounts you have, we'll go ahead and suspend all the bank accounts which are connected to your Social Security. So don't blame us if you lose any money.
Eventually, the bad guy hung up.
So, folks, these are scam calls. Don't ever give out your information.
The good news? This scammer has now gone viral. Tom Costello, NBC News, Washington.
Viral. He's gone viral. I bet he's so embarrassed.
This is for Ronzi. Let's get the NBC stuff out of the way. First of all, the scammer never got scammed like they started the story with. Oh, the scammer got scammed. How did he get scammed?
Because they call out culture, man. We called him out. We went viral.
So, and then the other reporter said she was messing with him. She was. When I did my clip, I was messing with the guy. I was getting him bad information. I was stringing him along. She just refused to talk to the guy. I'm not giving you my number. I'm not giving you my address.
There was no entertainment in this clip.
There was no entertainment. And then it's a cop. And this is illegal. And what does the cop do about it? Laughs it off and posts it? How about going after the guy, finding some way to stop this, bitching about the fact that Elizabeth Warren promised that she was going to do something about this bull crap?
Well,
they laugh it off. Ho, ho, ho. So funny.
Two things happened yesterday to me as it relates to this. Unless I recognize a number, like it's in my address book, I think I have 20 names in my address book on this phone. That's it. I don't pick up, and it goes to voicemail. Here's one that went to voicemail yesterday. Let me see if I can make this work. Here we go.
Social Security number is being suspended, and there is an arrest warrant being issued under your name. To talk to an officer, press 1. I repeat, to know more about the case, press 1.
So, obviously, I didn't call back or anything like that, but I got a call somewhat later in the day, and it was an 877 number. Now, if it's a 512, I'm inclined to pick it up, which is our area code. 877 is typically like, that might be a legit service. It wasn't my own 650 area code. I still have a phone from Silicon Valley days. And this lovely lady, but she sounded older, hello, may I speak with Adam Curry? I hate that, by the way. I despise it. Announce who you are first, but no. So I say, who's calling? So I can always, get out of it. Well, this is Ford Credit. I'm like, this sounds like a scam. And she really sounded like a scammer. But, my lease is up in 6 weeks, and I'm happy to get rid of this car because I don't need it anymore. I don't have the Airstream. And it's to, they come to you. She's like, well, we're going to come to your house and we're going to, and I'm still not believing it. We're going to inspect the cars. Your inspection said, you're going to come to my house and inspect my car. And what does this cost me? She said, no, this is a Ford Credit. And she, and she kept into, I need your home address. I'm not going to give you my home address. I don't know who you are. You clearly know what kind of car I have. I don't like this. And then she went through a whole bunch of numbers that I could verify. Account numbers. Okay, you're really, and she was, but it took 10 minutes of me just trying to figure out if she was legit or not.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
Yeah. So
I'm sure they feel crappy about it because everyone thinks they're criminals.
She might have been a criminal. It's always the old grandma. Really it's always the grandma. She was really good, man. She got me good. Hey, on Sunday, I do want to provide an update on Patrick Byrne, who continues to write about his involvement with Maria Butina. He's writing some cryptic stuff that he says, I'm not going to talk about this, but I've already I've already figured out that it relates to Anna Chapman. Apparently, Maria Butina was a part of the same outreach program that the actual hot Russian spy was a part of, only Anna Chapman was the one who was spying on the Democrats and Hillary Clinton. And he has, so I've done some research on that, and we'll talk about that on Sunday. We can go a little bit deeper, unless there's some kind of breaking news. I did want to leave with this one clip from Andrew Yang, who I'm getting a little more respect for, except he never says this stuff on television or in interviews. He only does it on podcasts, and in this case, it's about the media.
The other thing is just how corrupt our media conglomerates are, where I was stunned. I thought they just reported news much more so, but they actually really do have their fingers on scales in various ways.
So there's a little bit of truth to a lot of the, I guess, traditional conservative criticism that the media is not always even-handed.
It's wild. During this run, I feel like I've now seen kernels of truth in a lot of Trumpisms, honestly, where he's like, fake news, and then you're like, oh, come on, Trump. And then you look into it and be like, well, there is something there. Obviously, he's overly emphasizing it and dramatizing it, like enemy of the people stuff's obviously like needlessly extreme. But yeah, that's actually been a surprise to me. Like I'm sort of stunned that I get treated better by Fox than MSNBC. I thought MSNBC would like me.
I would have thought so too.
Well, that's very funny.
I wish he would just be honest and say, hey, you guys suck. He would actually get traction.
He would. That's what Trump did, and it worked. I mean, I think the public is kind of amenable to that. I do have a clip to follow up that, which is the Sanders, who is also being treated
he's
poorly.
Also saying the same things.
Yeah. He's being treated very poorly by the media, but he's going about his condemnation kind of the wrong way. And I think it's it's been documented that the New York Times has got a reporter that covers him and who hates him, and apparently his job is to dismiss him. And according to Sanders, the Washington Post has a person like that too. And even though he still stays up there in the numbers race, it's not going to last for long, especially after he does this kind of thing. And this is the unreported. This on Democracy Now! Was unreported by everybody else, but it's quite interesting.
Independent Senator 2020 hopeful Bernie Sanders has released a plan to protect independent journalism and end the consolidation and corporate control of media outlets. His plan includes ending federal approval of major media mergers, giving employees an opportunity to have ownership in news outlets, increasing funding for local and independent news, and strengthening antitrust regulations to stop tech giants like Facebook and Google from, quote, cannibalizing, bilking, and defunding news organizations. Sanders notes President Trump's assault on the press has further threatened the media landscape.
Nice threatened. Yeah. I don't like some of these ideas I'm hearing. I think the press, when they can't make their business model work, just have to go away. I'm sorry. We may wind up with the New York Times, Washington Post, I'm sure will survive, probably USA Today, and the rest will be just whatever blogs you trust. I mean, all these hot shit publishing companies are all going out of business. I'm sure you read that essay by some person who was on staff at, I guess, Gawker, and they got spun out and bought. And this person was complaining that, all the Silicon Valley hotshots who bought the company, all they wanted was clickbait. And, exactly the shit they're accused of, basically.
Yeah.
It's like no one cares about your in-depth reporting online. Because there's no money to be made off of that. We need clicks, click, clicks that we need. Clicks, lots of clicks. So it's
cat videos.
It seems like a lot of this stuff is over. Things do come to an end,
Well, the fact, anyone who's studied it, the fact is that the newspapers began their decline with television news. It had nothing to do with the internet. It's always been declining, and it forced them to do certain kinds of consolidation. Yeah. If you look at old newspapers from the 1900s, it's nothing like today. And there's lots of competition. San Francisco had like 4 or 5 newspapers. You know, they had the Call, they had the Bulletin, which had to merge into the Call Bulletin. They had the Examiner, they had the Chronicle, which had to eventually merge into. Eventually, everybody got bought, and now it's one newspaper, the Chronicle. And there was other papers. The New York must have had 10 or more newspapers, and it was very competitive, and everyone got paid well, and they were breaking stories, and they were doing the clickbait in their own version with the headlines, and they would sell. Paperboys would sell it to the commuters. Yeah, read all about it. All that sort of thing died with the television and started to consolidate, and it just got worse with the internet. I'm surprised they're hanging on as long as they are.
Well, what I see forming before our very eyes, I see long-form journalism being done, and I think very well. There's some journalists out there who might even call themselves journalists, and like George Webb on YouTube, and there's a lot of in-depth work being done that is extremely valuable and very readable, and I would say it appears better sourced. Now, you can't trust the so-called mainstream either, so at a certain point you follow someone and you see what if they were talking crap or not. And the future appears to be people like you and I, human content routers. We sift through it, distill, let some stuff seep through. If I had a penny for every time someone says, I only listen to you guys, I don't need to watch that shit anymore, I'd have 100 pennies. But
now, an element of that should be noted, which is, well, what are you going to do if all the big papers you're just stealing content from the big boys, and if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have any content. The best content that we have, including just the things that you just played, is that Andrew Yang clip that you had.
Yeah, from a podcast. Exactly.
Our best content our best ridiculing content, where we just excoriate these guys for doing a piss poor job, that comes from the mainstream media. But our best informational content does not. It comes from all these other sources. We don't really use the New York Times to source some of our stories if we're going to go into in-depth stuff. We use them to point out that they're biased. So that's bullcrap. So you're right. It's going to be guys like us.
As long as we can keep each other alive, we're in good shape. So
that's what I say.
Stop smoking so much weed. All right, everybody. Thank you, trolls, for keeping us on our toes. At least me. John doesn't look at you. I do. I see you, trolls. And thank you to our producers for today's program. And, of course, we will return on Sunday. I hopefully will have an update. I'm going to see if I can make it to the big meeting at 6. Maybe overcrowded. Let's see. And please remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Without your production dollars, we go away. That's just how it works. Yeah?
Does your iPhone 5 make videos?
It can.
Well, record go take some videos of that event.
Coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 in the frontier of Austin, Texas. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where Greta Mania is on its way, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Special thanks to Jesse Coy Nelson, Tom Starkweather, and Sir Hoopin' Soccer for the end-of-show mixes. Until Sunday, adios, mofos, and such.
And coming this fall to home video.
July 2019 was the hottest month ever recorded across the world. This is according to a report on Monday by the EU's Copernicus Climate Change Program.
The thing that couldn't die.
Man-made global warming pollution causes global warming.
2013 was one of the top 10 hottest years on record.
New data from NASA shows 2018 was the 4th hottest of the last 139 years.
The thing that couldn't die.
There are people who still believe that the moon landing was staged on a movie lot in Arizona.
2014 was the hottest year on record.
The world's oceans in 2017 were the hottest ever recorded. Researchers said in the study,
the thing that couldn't die.
You began by denying that there is a consensus on the science. There is a consensus on the science.
There's not really a day that I don't think about, where our Earth is going to.
The thing that couldn't die.
NASA records show global temperatures have risen steadily over the past 136 years, but there was never a spike in temperature like we saw in 2015.
There is no stopping it.
Analogizing people to insects is always wrong. We can do better.
We don't have a mathematics that proves one thing is better than the other. We just have opinions.
I welcome being called a bed bug.
A professor at George Washington University described me as a bed bug or a metaphorical bed bug.
He had to get Queen Elizabeth to go along. Guess what? She went along. She did.
And the chicken sandwich wars are coming to an end.
The question they're raising is that why shouldn't this be up to the voters who are going to be voting in early 2020 rather than up to the Democratic Party officials?
I'm not. Proverbially.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't let him. He's upsetting you. You got to learn how to deal with him.
James Cardinal Cole. What a phony.
They went on to say it forces campaigns to fork over millions of dollars to Facebook.
If the people don't qualify, what does that actually mean for their campaigns moving forward? They won't have the exposure.
Right. I had no intention whatsoever to get him in any kind of professional trouble.
I mean, we are just children. We shouldn't have to do this. The adults should take that responsibility.
Wacky shells, zany shells.
Flocking to a taco podcast. 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 Flocking to a taco podcast.
I think we should stop while we're ahead.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
The president is a raving lunatic.